Astronauts to the moon.
Ignition sequence start. 3, 2, 1.
Houston, we have a problem.
Liftoff. We have a liftoff. We copy you on the ground. You got a bunch of guys about to turn blue.
What you're seeing here is a mirage.
What's going on, everyone? It's Jaron from Jeranism, back with another live video for you, a Friday Lounge number 2. So thank you so much for joining me. I do greatly appreciate it, as we all do. I've got some guests with me, as is the case with the Friday Lounge. We've got Bob from Globebusters. Bob, how's it going?
Hey, doing really good, Jaron. I'm just still working on my presentation for Dallas because, you know, as usual, I always wait till the last second. But that's normal for me.
I'm the same way. So we have the same thing going for us. We also have Rodrigo Ferrari Nunes joining us. Rodrigo, how are you?
Hello, Jaron. Thank you for having me. Hello, Bob. Here I am in Holland, 8 p.m., more or less 8:15, and there's a lot going on, and as you guys know. So
explain this to me. You guys already changed your clocks?
Yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah, we went back an hour.
We do it tomorrow night.
Is it tomorrow night? Yeah, I guess so, huh?
Tomorrow when we go to bed or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So, I didn't know that some people change it at different times, but now I do.
I think the time it changed was like in the middle of the night, like at 2 a.m., 3 a.m. 3 a.m. became 2 a.m.
But was it last weekend that it happened or during this week?
Yeah, it was last weekend, right?
Oh, okay. Yeah,
but
it's just
did they change the time?
Let's check what's going on with Argentina, the Upside Down Land, and Iru Landucci. Iru, what's up? Iru. Hola, Iru. Oops. No, Iru? Iru, are you there?
No.
He's unmuted. He's here in spirit, which is
the CIA abducted him, I think.
Well, we also do have Iru joining us. I don't know where he is or what's wrong with his sound, but hopefully he'll be joining us, and that's your show for today. So hopefully you guys are having a good one. Hopefully you had a good Halloween. How about Halloween over there? Do they celebrate it as big as in the States, Rodrigo?
Here in Holland? No, I don't think so. I haven't seen anything. Probably people go to parties and things like that. And, you saw what the ESA put out, the Halloween crack. I don't know if you've seen that. That was pretty amazing. That just came out. That there's a Halloween crack in Antarctica, and it's opening up. So
I saw Halloween.
Can you hear me, guys?
We can hear you now.
There he is.
Okay. Hello, everyone. How's it going? Everything fine here in Argentina, as always. Upside down. You know, the weather is nice. Everything good.
Did they change your clocks yet, Rodrigo, or have you changed your clock? I'm not Rodrigo. Iru.
The normal people, yes, they do. I never change it, and I wait, for example, for the our technology does for us,
right?
Because I am not even use any more watches, so I don't need to analog watches, so
right.
I don't need to change anything at all. And we wait for England, in the Greenwich Meridian, and I hope the guys. They're changing the clocks of all world,
But
they control the time. They control the time.
Brazil rejected that this year. They didn't change the clocks. The president said we're not going to change it, and then they didn't do it.
And you're going to have an economic crisis if you don't do that, man. It's England. England
the whole economy will fall
everything.
apart.
They control the reptilian, the economics, everything. They control even the time. They control even the time.
They control time. Yeah, they do. They actually do, because the meridian is set up to be right there. Right, it's the center of the world. They set the world up and the ball to be straight pointing to them, so they are exactly in the center. It has to go through them.
Yes, yeah. And the guy that was
so natural. It's like nature wants.
It's nature, but the guy who was behind that, behind the meridian, time set. Of course, it was a military guy, and it's also criticized Newton, and he's from the Royal Academy of London, and I'm going to, research a little bit, and maybe
it's always
in
the
the
same
show
guy.
I'm going to present, because they are all the same guys. They are just taking a coffee and discussing about the time, and with this one and the other one, and they laugh a lot.
Taking
Like
the
NASA this week with all the Halloween.
Oh boy.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
the Halloween sun. That was incredible. I saw that you covered it in your channel, Hiro. the Halloween.
Yeah, but it's
capaza,
not just that. I don't know if Jeran has on, maybe
You want to
for
talk about
presenting, but
the posters?
But the complete, the poster and the podcast that NASA did. I don't know if you saw the characters that was the host of the show, and incredible.
You'll have to show me.
Do you remember? I remember the Saturn sounds, the creepy sounds from Saturn that they released at one point, which is all this stuff. Like it was Halloween as well when they did it. So they've been doing this for a while, right?
Well, I saw that they posted this yesterday. I think you guys can see it. Making sure. Okay, somebody's texting me at the wrong time.
Yes.
All right, Galaxy of Horrors, right? And so these are their different posters that they posted, and when you read them, they're just classics. So this one here, we'll read this first one called Zombie Worlds, is this little poster, and we can look at it after, but it says, these doomed worlds were among the first and creepiest to be discovered as they orbit an undead star known as a pulsar. Pulsar planets like Poltergeist and its neighboring worlds, Phobetor and Dragor, are consumed with constant radiation from the star's core.
Phobetor.
Jesus.
Oh my God.
And nothing but the undead can subsist in this most inhospitable corner of the galaxy. So you can get this poster, and then it brings up the poster, and basically what I just read is down here. I think there's actually more in here. Yeah. See these.
No, man. If you're going to invite me to take this into analysis, please don't call me anymore. Okay. I have more important things to do. Okay.
Look at all this nonsense. And yeah, you can go to each one, each little. I thought this one was funny. This far-off blue planet may look like a friendly haven, but don't be deceived. Weather here is deadly. The planet's cobalt blue color comes from a hazy, blowtorched atmosphere containing clouds laced with glass.
I heard about this one. It rains glass. That's what they say.
Howling winds send the storming glass sideways at 5,400 miles per hour. They can figure this out. Whipping all in a sickening spiral. It's death by a million cuts on this slasher planet. Holy smokes.
Wow. I like the Diamond Planet so much better.
Oh, yeah.
Diamond
It's much
core.
better. Oh, boy.
Yeah, Donut rain, like in the Simpsons.
Sideways glass at 5,400 miles per hour. Who could ever survive the time there? Monster Mash. A hulking monster of a star is stealing pieces of its nearby planet, WASP 12b, to assemble itself into the ultimate Frankenstein creation. The extreme gravity is stretching the hot gas giant into the shape of an egg. I thought gravity didn't work that way. Anyway, all the white slowly cannibalizing the planet. Oh, all the while. Relatively soon, in 10 million years, a fleeting moment in space-time. This planet will be completely devoured by its hungry star. If you enjoy watching the world fall to pieces, then this planet is for you. Ugh. Holy smokes. Then you got Kepler's Inferno. That's Iru's favorite.
And they put this kind of these numbers to make it sound kind of scientific, right?
Oh, I saw this too. Look, if you get the poster down here in this little circle here, it says based on real science.
Wow.
Oh boy.
That is
I don't know. What are they
sad.
doing to people? It's just
Wow, it's embarrassing.
It really is. This is the Eternal Darkness discovered in 2006. Are you afraid of the dark? Well, welcome to Tres 2b, the planet of eternal night. The darkest planet ever discovered orbiting a star. This alien world is less reflective than coal. Inside its atmosphere, you'd be flying blind in the dark. Sometimes scientists think there's an eerie deep red glow would emanate from its burning atmosphere. Jeez, I cannot even imagine. I don't know why you can't get these posters down here, or these ones. You only can get these two. I guess they're going to release them in limited edition. What do they call it? Galaxy of Horrors. What else can we choose from up here? Exoplanet Travel Bureau. I haven't even looked at this site yet. What's the Exoplanet Travel Bureau? Here we go. Take a trip outside our solar system and explore the galaxy. That's it.
Oh yeah, nice.
You can click on this Explorer, so it is.
Oh, there you go. Didn't even see that.
Choose. Oh, it's all their posters in a row.
Choose a destination.
I've seen all these. These are earlier ones. This lava planet that you go in a bubble and they have like they being pulled by some sort of boat or something on that flying bubble.
Skies sparkle above a never-ending ocean of lava. You could tell that this organization is just nothing but graphic artists. I mean, oh, here we go. This is the planet hop to the Trappist 1E.
And of course, Trappist, right? Beer drinkers know that the Trappist beers are the ones that are made by monks, right? Monks in monasteries.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So they're pulling. I think Ito has talked about this. Like,
yes,
it's kind of a Jesuit.
I have all the information that corroborate that. Yeah.
Oh, geez.
It's based on the Catholic, branch. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can relax on Kepler 16b, where your shadow always has company. We have 2 shadows there. We can go to Kepler.
Way, man.
Yeah.
Red fuzz.
You can go to Kepler 186f, where the grass is always redder on the other side. So they have red grass there. Where the grass is always redder. You got to be kidding me. This is the PSO J318.5-22, where the nightlife never ends. And you can see you can wear a dress here, Eero. You just have to put on this little helmet. Everything's fine.
I think they're going to show one of my favorites, the one that has the dog with the helmet on Mars. It's going to come up, I'm pretty sure, if they have the whole thing.
Experience the gravity of a super Earth, HD 4037G. We've got 51 Pegasi B, which is the first exoplanet. Oh, so exciting. Man, you talk about wizardry. No, it looks like it. Now this is back to
That's it. Yeah.
lava life. So choose a destination. That's where we go. That's the Exoplanet Travel Bureau. And then there's 5 ways to find a planet. I've never looked at any of this. Watching for wobble. That helped us with 778 planets discovered. Searching for shadows. 3,126 planets were discovered by searching for shadows. Direct imaging. Oh, they've taken pictures of 47 planets. Can we click that? Oh, there it is.
Of course they are.
There it is. Oh, there it goes. Oh,
wow, that is so real.
Oh, I'm amazed. Astronomers can take pictures of exoplanets by removing the overwhelming glare of the stars they orbit. Oh, so you move this thing in front, and then the planet appears. I had no idea.
Jeez.
And this is the direct imaging that they did?
Yeah.
Come on.
They've discovered 47 planets through this method.
There is no way they are getting direct imaging of this. That's just so crazy.
You can do gravitational microlensing, which is light in a gravity lens. Wow.
Sure you can.
This is good stuff.
No, that's the curvature of space and time right there. They're model for it.
Yeah, you know what this reminds me of is, remember on Globebusters?
I find it.
Jaron, we did that thing with that lady that was the MIT PhD,
right?
And she was explaining how they imaged the black hole,
right?
And they took data from all these different radio telescopes all over the world, and then they extrapolated like a pixel, like 1 pixel in a billion, and then they compared it to all these images of known things on Earth, and said, okay, well, this is the closest match, so this is what it should look like. Right. I mean, it's unbelievable fabrication.
And what is this? Astrometry? What is the definition of that, Bob?
Astrometry? That's a new one.
Astrometry.
Measuring stars is what it seems to me.
Well, it seems they've discovered one planet through this astrometry. Minuscule movements. The orbit of a planet can cause a star to wobble around in space.
Yeah, okay. It says astrometry is the branch of astronomy that involves precise measurements of the positions and movements of stars and other celestial bodies. So there you have it.
So the precise, read that one more time.
The astrometry is the branch of astronomy that involves precise measurements of the positions and movements of stars and other celestial bodies.
And via that method, they've been able to find one planet discovered through that method? Oh, great.
Yeah, precisely.
It's what we see in Brazil. This guy who has a large channel in Brazil, who's a geologist, he is basically going through the details of gravimetry, which is like this branch of geology that measures gravity, supposedly. But the problem with that, what is very interesting, is that they get different measures everywhere. And supposedly you're being pulled to the center of mass, so this thing should be uniform, but they just get like the whole thing's a mess, and it really doesn't work on a ball. So, but it is another one of these branches that come out of, they're odd, they come out of the theory of gravity. And now, but of course, Chris Hadfield was saying that they have on the ISS in his book, it says they have something that collects dark matter. They just make stuff up, right? They come up with a theory. Then suddenly they have a machine that immediately collects this, like the same with the gravitational waves. It's just part of science fiction. It's crazy.
Wait. They make stuff up? Come on. Really?
Come on. I don't believe this.
Who would have thought that?
I don't know if you saw, guys. You know that GeoShifter, it's coming back. It's back.
Yeah.
Not coming back. It's back.
I love GeoShifter. He's awesome.
Yeah, me too, man. And he posted, I believe it was yesterday, like a clip original from NASA. I have it right there, right here. So.
Just a second. Did you catch that? What Jaron just showed, which was was it the light bending through that? Did you get
what?
When he was showing that gravimetric, when you're looking at the astrometry thing that had the sort of curvature of space and time model, the stars, that one. The stars, look at that. There's the light apparently is bending, and then you're gonna see the planets or whatever stars are coming, and the light's bending. Look at that. The ray. So I don't know how they're getting that.
Well, because, the fabric of space is bending, so it's taking the light with it. Which, if you think about that, it's a wonder that with all the celestial motions out there all over the place, that our sky doesn't look like a bunch of searchlights everywhere, right?
Yeah, it would be ridiculous.
Yeah.
And yet the starlight comes in straight.
Yeah, this guy mentioned that the problem, one big problem that they have been discussing even among NASA people is that pendulum, the freaking Foucault pendulum. When there's an eclipse, it reacts very strangely. And this flat earther is saying that the reason for this has nothing to do with the Earth, meaning the pendulum moves the way it moves because it does have. What he's suggesting is that the movement of the pendulum, when it reacts to something in the sky, means that whatever happens to the pendulum is connecting it to the movement of the sky and not the Earth. It's one of those, it's kind of like Airy's failure. It's just a different sort of thing. It had been a puzzle for a while in geology.
Yes,
I thought it was interesting.
It is the phenomena that it corresponds more like an electromagnetic thing. Based on the sun behavior, and it's like it was discovered by an economist guy in the 60s.
Exactly. Physicist, economist, physicist. Got a Nobel Prize winning guy. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I forget the name, but you Bob remember the name of this phenomena with the focal pendulum when the focal pendulum start to just move in one direction and never rotate.
Something like
Elias effect. It's the Elias effect.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. What did you covered this, Bob? Right?
Yeah. I've covered the Elias effect before. Several times. It's a huge problem for the globe model because there is no logical reason in the world why any type of celestial event like a star alignment, planetary alignment, or eclipse would cause the pendulum to reverse directions. But it does very often. So there's,
So it's quite radical of difference what happens when you have the eclipse going on.
Yeah, but if you think about it in terms of, the points of light in the sky being, celestial energetic alignments, then all of a sudden it makes a whole lot more sense, So to me, I see it clearly, but, I'm kind of strange. So, go figure.
I think there's a lot more to the stars. If they're messing with the pendulum and this is going on, imagine, there might be something connected. It's almost like the stars are strings or something with our consciousness or something. I don't know. It's something like that. Who knows?
Jeez, I don't know what I'm playing with here. This is supposedly let me go back here because I'm now losing it. This is Eyes on Exoplanets. And it says, explore a real-time visualization of all the known exoplanets. And then it says down here, note, planetary surface depictions are hypothetical and based on available data. But then you go enter, and I guess this over here says you are some million light years away from Earth.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's got some sort of, oh, now we're getting closer. So this is a real-time depiction of exoplanets, in case you didn't know. And I guess,
of course.
Of course, yeah. I think you can, I believe it now. I didn't know they had this. You can just click on one of these, and then that's WASP number 97. What's this one doing flying so fast? Let's go to that one. Click to zoom. Here we go, and there we are. I'm convinced. Now, I don't know about you guys. And this is in the habitable zone. So I take it there's life there. Can we zoom in closer to see if anybody's there? Oh, wait. This is a sun, and this is the planet. All right. There we go. It's all just oh, there we go. And there's the hypothetical visualization.
Wow.
So many planets out there. So many. You can compare them. I mean, this is enough proof for most people.
Yeah, there was a video game, a big video game that's supposed to come out that lets you explore all the galaxies and planets everywhere, and you find new animals and new dinosaurs and stuff, and people name them, but it flopped. Imagine, the kind of stuff that people they're flying with this whole balls in the sky idea that you explore. So, Edo wanted to show something.
Yes, you want to share?
Yeah, of
sure.
course. Let me just.
Of course, yes.
No, it's of course.
Of course.
No, just of course, man. Let me just because this was based on this Sheo Shifter presentation that or video that he uploaded. But it's really amazing because NASA it has all these. Are you seeing my screen right now?
Right now, I just see a black screen. Yeah. Oh, there we go. Okay, good.
There you go. So NASA prepare, and for me, this guy, you need to pay attention in terms of the social communication that these guys want to create. All the social atmosphere around this event. And for me, this guy is like the son of Don Pettit. When you look,
Poor guy.
Yes, when I played. Just for me, in my imagination, this came from the.
Maybe he's a mix of Don Pettit with Bill Nye or something like that.
Maybe
Hybrid.
something like that. Yes. So NASA prepare because this is original from NASA. Okay. So NASA, Science, Life, and Death. Okay.
Queen, and welcome to.
But look, paying attention to the character that NASA.
Galaxy of Horrors.
Yes.
Happy Halloween, and welcome to a very special hair-raising edition of NASA Science Live. I am your host, Scott Bednar. Okay.
He looks like Don Pettit.
A little bit.
Yes.
You're right.
And getting your questions answered by them. It's easy. All you got to do is go on Facebook or Twitter and ask us a question using the hashtag #AskNASA.
They're desperate for the social networks.
Yes.
Begging. They're always begging with the social network stuff.
Yes,
how you
but
spread
look the behavior, this guy, and I am not against gay people, nothing like that. Don't bad to me. I don't know.
Well, they gave him a wig. They gave him some lab coats. Some glasses, like Don Pettit, like you said, very much like that. And then the whole scenario, it's kind of. But Americans, they take very seriously Halloween. This would not strike as so odd for us either because we don't have this Halloween stuff. They transform. The whole place transforms, like with kids dress up and walking around, and they get the, it's really quite a thing in the States that we don't have. But so NASA gets away with it because people say, oh, they're just playing, they're celebrating, or whatever. So they don't take it as propaganda.
Right. If you went to the store yesterday or went out, everybody was in costume. That's just the way it is in the States.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I know that, but it's like, I mean, for me, it's not coincident that in the last 3-4 big event of NASA, and I'm not claiming that this is one, but if you go, for example, to the curiosity. Of course, always some gay-friendly scientist,
Right.
When you go, for example, but on purpose,
Right, they're producing their cast, right? Somebody's the cast director that picks up who's going to show up on the
Yes.
screen. Then they say, we need diversity. We need somebody that
exactly.
projects this kind of thing, because they're trying to catch that particular kind of audience, and they probably have a plan. You see that the Indian one's quite interesting to look at that aspect of it as well, the Chandrayaan, because they have a massive production, so it's kind of Bollywood style. It's almost like they're going to break into a choreography at some point, start singing, You'd expect that. But
so,
no.
For example, right now, he's going to talk with two scientists, and they're going to explain why they are dressing like they dress, in fact.
In laboratory.
So,
Aaliyah, Tiffany, happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween!
Scott,
Over to you.
Are they wearing costumes?
Yeah, but they are going to explain what it means, these customs, okay?
And I'm joined here by Dr. Tiffany Kataria, who is an exoplanet scientist.
Exoplanet scientist. You're going to the
Like an
university.
astrobiologist.
Yeah, right. And right now you can study for that. I
Absolutely.
assume,
It's unbelievable that they can actually do that. It's just so crazy.
Yeah.
Let's
And then you
talk
can
a little bit
review
about
data.
So we have Reigns of Terror.
Reign of Terror.
Right.
Okay, and she's going to explain
nice.
that, man. She's going to explain. Okay.
It's so cool.
What makes it so terrifying?
Yeah, and so this
Please.
planet is called HD 189733b. It rolls off the tongue. It's what's called a hot Jupiter, and it's called that because it's Jupiter in size, but it orbits really, really close to its star. So it's actually 10 times closer than Mercury is to our sun. And so
Of
because
course, 33. No, just coincidence for me. Okay, but
of that, it's super, super hot. Hot enough, in fact, that the rocks we find on Earth are hot enough to be vaporized and forming clouds and raining out.
They speak as if they were there. Last week they've been just watching it falling.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? It's like they speak as if it's just down the street.
yeah, it's so hot.
And they can
that
make
the
up whatever.
ropes-
They can make it up. They can make up whatever they want, because if they have any data that conflicts that in a week, you just change it. It's not actually glass. It's actually needles. It rains needles.
Yes.
Very high winds, we'd actually expect these rains of glass, because they're mainly silicates, these sand source of particles. We'd expect those particles to be driven sideways from the winds.
Wow, so our Santa Ana winds have nothing on this planet.
Absolutely not.
All right, so let's talk about our next poster, which is Zombie World.
Zombie World. Well, I want to
Zombie
just
World.
attempt the dress part. The dress part.
Promoting their posters just openly like that, it's just total propaganda. Like, so.
How could it be considered
like
anything else?
the Italian guy had the Lego the other day on station.
It's like, what else can they possibly do to further shove this down people's throats? It's ridiculous. Thank you, Hendrik Alerts, for the 25-pound super chat. Really appreciate that. Thank you.
She's going to explain why she dressed like, she does. So I believe.
I'm really passionate about both art and science, so it's a really awesome intersection of both of my interests.
Absolutely.
And so what I really love about these posters is that they're engaging not only to the general public, but also to astronomers, planetary scientists across the board.
Yeah, they are.
We're well into
So
exoplanet
here
science.
comes.
And so it's really nice to point out
right here.
hot day side here.
Okay.
A bit about what is going on with your
Sure,
outfit,
yeah.
and how does it have to relate to exoplanet?
Absolutely. I'm glad you asked, Leah. So this wig here in my makeup represents a Terminator zone. And so I've got a really hot day side here on the right.
Jesus.
Terminator zone.
Oh, boy.
But wait, no. But wait until the other girl explained she's customer.
Oh, no.
Cat space shirt. But I did also want to ask you, Talia, about your costume.
Well, I am everything and anything. I am the universe. I have my planets here. I have my stars here, which only makes up 5% of it, and the rest is dark energy and dark matter.
Oh, God.
Wow.
The rest is dark energy and dark matter, man.
Oh, I can't imagine an easier costume. Wow, that's really easy.
Scott, thank
Yeah, and when comes to the studio, the guy was dressed up like Star Trek. I mean, come on.
Oh.
Both. So I understand there are.
It's Don Pettit.
It might be Don Pettit. It might be his son.
It might be Don Pettit. Yeah, maybe he takes some time travel and he get young.
He come back.
But the only thing that, just for closing that, I'm going to take this from Geo Shifter and say hello to him, because he made a great research, and he's very comical and funny. He lives in Belgium, he take this last part of that show, and the question that somebody made on the social network is really interesting, because I talk a lot with a friend of mine who is an engineering, and just take a listen and tell me what you think about it.
Okay, so Jesse wants to know on Facebook, if the universe is expanding, what is it expanding into? What's on the other side of that bubble?
Well, this is a question that we love to get, and it's good that Jesse asked that, because it gives us an opportunity to try to answer something that is really very difficult to conceptualize.
To make up some more bullshit.
The universe isn't expanding into anything. It's actually an expansion of space. As space expands, it's pushing away from itself, but it's everywhere. Every part of space is moving apart.
It's like the Force of Star Wars.
Yeah, it's like a god who is self-created all the time. It's just expanding. It's nothing more. I mean, where is going to expand?
It makes no
sense.
sense.
It's creating more terrain, more space-time. It's create more space-time at the same time that the universe expand. I mean,
of course.
This guy, is he on a costume, or is this how he's supposed to actually?
No, it's a costume.
It's a costume, okay, because he looks like a kind of wacky professor sort of type of style.
No, but it's NASA, it's
Merry
NASA
Christmas
style. Yeah, no, that is Geo Shifter. Geo Shifter, wants to give us Merry Christmas, because Halloween is like a satanic, satanic Celta culture,
Night of the Dead and everything else.
Yeah, exactly. But something that's going more serious, if you want, talking about the stars and things like that. I don't know if you take a look into I believe the name is Santelli telescope, which is like a process. Like you take like a Newtonian telescope, and you make some changes. You invert some kind of things, and when you look to the sky, you start to see these manifestations in the sky. And I don't know if you take a look.
I haven't seen that. It's a type of telescope. Like it has a particular way it's built, so that this is what you see. That's what you're saying.
Yes,
it's a different kind.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And let me just go.
It's like electric stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, let me. You can see for yourself. This is not just something that someone made up. But the guy behind this, and I'm taking a random video that I have here, but this is the pattern. Okay, apparent detection via new telescope with concave lenses of otherwise invisible terrestrial entities. Ruggero Maria Santelli was the guy. The guy used to work on the. I don't know if he used to work in some observatories around the world and things like that. But he's all the contact information, all the patent presented for creating this telescope. Okay, based on concave lens. Yeah, and you have it, open source, if you want to see in that way, just to create your own. There is a study group behind this, like 10 or more years, 10 or more years.
But this guy is not a flat earther, is he?
This is not something new. No, it's not a flat earther, at least that I know. This is the telescope that they create. This is a typical Galileo telescope with a concave, convex lens. So what he did was just put a concave lens instead of convex lens, instead of convex lens, And this is the setup. And let me just go forward. This is not the guy. I'm going to show you who is this Italian guy. But he started to look into the sky, and he started to, look all these kind of things. Somebody put this biblical quote or reference. This is not made by me. I just saved this video. But in fact, I believe I have like, let me just recap the name, because I have like
that looks like very close to some like Maya looking character or something like that.
Yeah, Santelli. Let me just type
the image that you showed, very strange, the thing in the sky, the electric phenomenon.
Yes. This is the guy. This is the guy behind that in that telescope.
I've heard of this before, and I thought that the other Vatican telescope, the one they call Lucifer, did the same thing. The one that has like two eyes or something. They're supposed to be observing the same kinds of things that this guy, because this has been a while. This has been around for at least a few years. This guy talking about this, but I never seen the images.
Yeah, it's everywhere. I mean, you can find it on the internet, and in his official webpage, you can see all the research that these guys did. I can find right now here in my quantum computer from other universe folders. But I know they have.
How'd you get one of those?
You don't have quantum supremacy.
Yeah, no. You need to work for NASA.
Oh, okay.
You guys, you don't work there, okay?
No,
you're never gonna have it. But but it's really interesting. I mean, there are out there things that we cannot comprehend, completely. Maybe just something that has to do with the light that it's coming, and the star is diffracted in some kind of way that
distorted,
give this appearance of these entities up in the sky.
But the thing is, why is it that the one way, the concave, would be accurate? The other way. Why
exactly.
would it? Yeah,
exactly. But maybe is the other way. Maybe the real thing that you must be see is something like this, and when you use the other lens, it's just distorted and see just like a tiny point out of focus. Yeah. So I just want to present it because at some point you are
they call it entities because they move by themselves. Do they show some sort of behavior that because stars they're moving, they do have to, when you zoom into them, they're pretty, it's pretty amazing.
I believe they call entities because you cannot define this as a star. It's something like, I don't know what it is, so just something that has entity in terms of existence. They are not talking about intelligent entities or intelligent beings. They just it's something up there,
like sprites or something like that. That's a weird.
Yes.
Why don't they call it just phenomena instead of entities? Entities implies a being, because that's the Latin word, right? Entis is being. A being is an ent. So entity. That one, for instance.
If you want to, take out your doubt about the word entity, read the complete informed presentation, and maybe here you like a lot reading, right?
Yeah.
So read this one, okay? Read and resume for us, okay?
Please.
All right.
Please.
Where is it? Do you have it? It's here.
Well, no, this is another thing. No, I just randomly, double clicking this video that I have here. So sorry if there is something that maybe, just.
The John Leonard Walson stuff is extraordinary, I think, and he said that he claimed that he developed some special technique to be able to photograph these objects in deep space.
Yes. He just invert the lens inside the telescope. He put a concave lens instead of convex lens. That is the only thing that this guy did to observe the sky.
Really? And he got these because of doing that?
And he presented right here. Let me just here. This is the Galileo telescope based on convex lenses, and Santilli is the guy who invented this technique.
Wow.
And he just invert and put this one convex lens, and he sold the paper that he present to everyone to.
They have that thing. They have a ball Earth over there. It's something, a little diagram saying.
Yeah, he called invisible terrestrial entities of the first and second kind. This is the name in his paper.
Wow, that's crazy. Because I've covered this a couple times on Globebusters, and I always thought, it was extraordinary, and I had no idea what those things were or how they were being, observed. But this is really interesting. I'll have to get this information from you after the show, Eero. I'd love to look into this more.
Okay, yes, and that will be great, because I can't find it what I have here because I get even downloaded all the papers and official, because this video that I'm presenting right now is just this Spanish guy who translate for the Spanish community and give his opinion, and he took video from here, from there, and put together, and it's something that is like a compilation of information, and he combined with Hollywood predicting programming of this kind of entities in the sky, things like that. So this is just like a mess up, like bringing information from movies and from real life and things like that. But when I start to look in this topic, I made my own research, and I just take official data from this guy, and I can't find it right now, but maybe when I find it, I can send to you, Bob, because it's something that, just for take into consideration.
Yeah, I can search for the paper and see what it says.
Yeah, amazing.
Yes. So this is the group of these guys. I'm going to screen capture and leave the artificial intelligence that detect this face and give us the official webpage. I stop sharing right now a little bit.
Okay, sounds good. Certainly very interesting stuff.
It is absolutely amazing. I'm sure you guys have noticed the incredible uptick in propaganda coming out, especially the stuff that's surrounding Antarctica.
Yeah.
I mean, the drones supposedly going around Antarctica, and there's even data. They even released the data, the latitude line, all this stuff. My friend that's the PhD EE has been sending me all this raw data and stuff, and he says that this is what they're claiming that they collected, and obviously it was fabricated, but it's just unreal how they are stepping this up.
Are you talking about the little drone sailor ship?
Yeah, that and the first woman, supposedly now navigating around it, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, they're just, coming out with a ton of this stuff, and it's all in response to us. Not us personally, but I mean the flat Earth community in general, and the NASA debunkers, because they don't have any other weapon. They can't fight us on any logical or scientific terms. All they have is insults, CGI, and propaganda. And
fraud. It's a fraud. So they must continue to come up with the same kinds of things they're doing. We can almost predict how they're going to act, right?
Yeah.
We can actually. We're at the point that we looked at it enough, and Jaren's been looking at this for even calling them, right? And Jaren kind of had relationships with the whole thing with the Freedom of Information Act, that whole shindig, this whole thing. So now we have enough information among everybody to really predict their behavior and how they're going to continue to push certain kinds of things. If you look closely,
Yeah, it is truly astounding. But and of course they're just stepping it up. That combined with the censorship, and that's what really made me happy about the InfoWars clip. Greg Reese, is that his name?
Yeah.
I'm sure. I know you guys saw it. Obviously, I mirrored it on Globebusters. But the Greg Reese clip from InfoWars, talking about Antarctica, and also the fact that, he points out point blank that YouTube is doing to us what they did to Alex Jones, and essentially this is what they do when when it grows to such a point where people are really wising up and understanding the truth, that they have to just completely, kick them out. And all they do is promote all of the flat Earth debunk videos right at the top of the list and all of this stuff. So, of course. A lot of people have a mixed opinion about InfoWars, and I don't know what you guys think, but I mean, Alex Jones, like him or not, he was part of my awakening, as I have gone through this, 20 plus years of looking at what the mainstream does. And, I know a lot of people are really skeptical about this, InfoWars even covering this topic. And it's not that Alex Jones himself is necessarily on board with it, but it appears clear that a couple of his producers are, right?
Alex actually says he doesn't want to become a flat earther. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's what Owen Benjamin said too.
Right. Yeah, it takes a little time. And he says he doesn't want to look into it because he doesn't want to be a flat earther.
That is precisely what Owen said. Oh my God, please, I can't be a flat earther. That is exactly what he said.
Yeah.
And in fact, Alex Jones, sorry, I don't want to interrupt you, but go ahead.
Good.
Oh, no, I was just going to, I was just saying that I think it's a good thing. And I don't know, a lot of people are skeptical and they're saying, oh, well, now that InfoWars is into this, now we know it's a controlled psyop. It's like, people don't think like Don't think like that. Look at the content, not at what you think they're doing. This piece actually was a big shot in the arm, in my opinion.
I think that in one way, Bob, we can say that the flat Earth is really bigger than everything. So it doesn't matter. A lot of people are going to start picking up in their political alignment or the stories that they may not jive with everyone in the community, but that's part of why the thing is true, right? We're talking about the truth. So it really kind of, if anybody start looking into it, you can't really stop it. That's one of the things. And we have David, I guess, that talked to Alex here.
Let me jump in here, guys.
Oh, Dave's here.
Oh, speak of the devil.
Excuse me. How you say my name and I appeared.
Yes.
I'm getting a lot of flack. People saying that I'm a confirmed shill now, that I've been Alex Jones. Whether you think Alex Jones is a shill or not, doesn't really matter. I got to his audience. If you look at what I did on his show, I didn't listen to anything he was saying. I just presented as much flat Earth as I could. And Eddie and Sam Tripoli had my back, keep telling Alex to shut up. So let's say Alex Jones is 100% confirmed, Bill Hicks and a shill together. We'll just put it all together. It doesn't matter. I got on and I talked to his audience on over 200 different stations. And now
you had a say. You spoke. It's not like they were stopped. I mean, they were speaking on top, but you had. Yeah, you managed to jump in and do it. So. And
the information that I got was he didn't even start looking into flat Earth until like an hour before the show, because he thought it was stupid, just like we all did at the beginning. And now he's obsessed with Antarctica. They were asking me about what's going on in Antarctica. Like they said, hey, we want to fund a trip to Antarctica. And I go, here, watch this first. And I gave them Taboo Conspiracies. Antarctica is closed. And that's what inspired Greg to make that awesome video. Then Alex played it on his show because he's fascinated with Antarctica. This is good for flat Earth. This is reaching new people. I get flooded with emails. They say, hey, I heard you on InfoWars. I've got this question, or, oh my God, I thought it was stupid. And I got your app and I went in and I watched all the videos in the archive. Oh my God, my life is ruined. The Earth is flat. I'm like, no, it's not ruined. Your life is going to be so much better now that you realize that you're not an insignificant speck in the middle of nowhere. So, people look I
think that Alex would go for this kind of stuff because, especially Antarctica, because of the treaty, because of the history behind it. He's kind of a buff in this kind of World War history, World War II especially. So he really looks into that kind of stuff. It's kind of like his forte, you can say, right? So
yeah,
you would guess that would really spike his curiosity to start looking into, the political ins and outs, because it is quite intriguing.
So since the show, the days after the show, he kept calling Eddie Bravo going, "Oh my God, every picture of Earth from space is fake. Oh my God, all the satellites are fake. Oh my God, there's no pictures of Antarctica." The one thing that Google still does serve up that is flat Earth solid is Google images of Antarctica from space or photos of Antarctica from space. It's funnier than South Park. I mean, what you they can take a high altitude picture of the United States and bend it, or a piece of land, but they can't do that with Antarctica because it's not a continent, and because it's just an edge, and they haven't figured out how to fake it yet.
Did you see the Halloween crack that the ESA brought out today, the European Space Agency? Talking about
it's so nonsense. But again, I'm not making a judgment on who Alex Jones was. And just like you, Bob, he's the first guy that woke me up. He woke me up to the Federal Reserve, and now here I am. I had my dose of Alex Jones, and I was able to separate the good that he gave from the gatekeeping stuff. And that's it. Just take the good and run with it. And we're all. I mean, this is exploding exponentially right now. It is the amount. The growth rate is insane. What's going down in Brazil and South America, with the mainstream TV, that breakdown you did the other day, that was really good to see.
This is one of the things, David, that's crazy. This is one of the things that's crazy about this is that the YouTube censorship did not hit the Brazilian flat earthers. It's really odd. They have these channels. I'm part of the WhatsApp groups. There's hundreds of messages every day, and they're showing, my channel just got, 20,000, 30,000. It's like the channels are kind of growing, and you can really easy to find information. And there's these fights going on between the bigger channel in Brazil, which is a geophysicist, seismologist, scientist with a huge kind of pedigree, and people who try to come after him, and he just rips them apart. It's like so the thing is just like brr, brr, brr. Is this giant coming, and the earth's shaking. It's shaking more and more and more, and they can't hold it. It's like it's a speeding train. It is.
Yeah. It's come far. I'm more bullish than you, Bob, you and Jaron are on how fast this is going to break, and it is breaking, in my opinion, faster than I ever thought. So that's just my opinion. Hey, maybe we'll be saying the same thing in 10 years. I don't think we're going to be saying the same thing in 2 months.
No, I agree with you, David, because, otherwise the propaganda would not be ramping up the way that it is. And everything that we attack, that's the rebuttal is instant.
And luckily for us, you can't hide the truth with lies. The more lies they throw out there, the more convoluted their story gets, and people are waking up. Consciousness is rising. And, the old analogy, you can bring a light into a dark room, but you can't bring darkness into a lit room. It doesn't work. The light, the truth, overwhelms these ridiculous lies. I mean, you guys are going over these pictures at the beginning. The nonsense they're putting out there is gone too far, and people are seeing through it. What's that?
I said it's gone way too far. Yeah. I think that's why people will start waking up, is because you can't see that stuff over and over again. It's like I said, I had a buddy who didn't want to listen to Flat Earth, didn't really want to care about it until he saw that red Tesla in space, and that's when he sent me a text message like, "Don't tell me this is supposed to be real." I said, "Oh no, that's supposed to be real." And it's those things when they go the step too far that really gets people to open their eyes. It's the same thing with YouTube blocking Flat Earth content. That's going to backfire on them, because when you're talking about
that woke up Sean from SGT.
Right. Yeah, it's just that's one thing you don't want to do.
He became a flat earther.
Right, because if you're telling people, if you just say, "Oh, Flat Earth is ridiculous," okay, people will just shoo it off. But if you start blocking Flat Earth content on YouTube when anything else is allowed, there's constant TV shows. You could watch 24 hours of TV shows a day that are just on searching for Bigfoot. And it's just 3 or 4 people that go into forests and knock on trees, and think they're getting some response. That's all okay. That's allowed. But the second they start blocking Flat Earth, I think it's going to wake people up, and that's what's happened, this year and last. And so I can't. I don't think it can go anywhere but continue. And I am looking at pictures, Dave, from of Antarctica from space, and they're real to me. Just so you know.
No, you're not.
I am looking at pictures. No, they're not real.
I sent you a video, Sheran,
you want me to play it?
Chat on the Skype, because I remember Alex Jones, like having the first contact in terms of public, related into his public show into the InfoWars was in 2016 when somebody called him and just start talking about some specific topic, and then the guy who was on the phone, he started talking about, well, Alex, and now that we have missile expert and other expert in other fields confirm as the flat earth, and Alex Jones immediately rejected and
right.
hung out the
I'll
conversation.
play this real quick.
1 year later, 1 year later, he came with this video that I sent to you. That if you want to play it.
Yep, here we go.
I don't believe the Earth is flat, but if the mainstream media started saying it was round, I might question them. I mean, that's how deceptive these people are. That you really can't believe anything they say. They taint, they twist, they spin.
Yeah. Totally.
Okay, it was just that tiny part, and it was made like in his house, on his office, something like that, and that is the key point for a lot of people. Okay, I don't believe the Earth is flat, but why in the media they need to defend the spherical Earth
all the time like crazy?
Right now, what I've been hearing is Alex Jones is in the Owen Benjamin stage that I call I don't want to be a flat Earth person.
Right.
Yes,
that's what stage he's in right now. And that's okay. We all went through that, but that's where Alex Jones is right now. Okay. Let's see where he goes with it. If he is controlled, let's see if he's instructed, which way not to look. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen, but in the meantime, I'm not worried about Alex Jones. I'm concerned myself with his audience and these other audiences that we've all been reaching. Switching subjects, just real quick. You want to play that any further? Are you done playing that, Jaron?
Yeah, I'll play it one more time just to hear it. It's only 15 seconds. Here it is one more time before I take it down.
All right, go ahead.
I don't believe the Earth is flat, but if the mainstream media started saying it was round, I might question them. I mean, that's how deceptive these people are. That you really can't believe anything they say. They taint, they twist, they spin.
Right.
Yeah.
And that was in 2017, 2016. And right now, 2019, we have this kind of Alex Jones, invited David to his show, and it's another process. I completely agree.
Yeah. By the way, Jaron, you're not sharing your screen.
The other guys invite you, or you just troll it. I don't know.
Knowing also how Alex doesn't like Obama, if he just finds out that Obama has been mentioning the flat Earth all the time out of nowhere when he was in the president. That's another, for him, it's probably going to be another red flag.
Yeah. How you get into the show, David? No, not in our show. Not in our show. I mean, in the Alex Jones shows.
David, how the hell did you get in this?
Because he told me that Alex doesn't invite him.
Yeah. So what happened was he had Eddie Bravo and Sam Tripoli from Tinfoil Hat that were spending 2 days in a row. Eddie wanted to talk flat Earth, and Alex said, "Hey, let's do this today, and tomorrow we can dedicate an hour to flat Earth." And he said, "Great." His producer, who's coming to the conference, not Greg Reese, a different producer who is awake and aware and was coming to the concert on her own, said, "Hey, we should get a guest on. Let's get Dave Weiss on. He's the flat Earth guru. I'm not the flat Earth guru, but that's what she said." And so I get this random call out of Texas. I for some reason answered it. Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, we hear you.
Breaking up a little bit.
Yeah, you're
you
fine.
Can break it out.
No, you're good.
Here, hold on. I can fix it.
No, I think it was me looking at a web page that was one of those stupid web
Can you hear me
pages.
now?
Oh, you sound
Much
so much
better.
better.
I hear you good now.
Welcome to the show.
Better.
That seemed to not work. How come I can't hear you guys?
Oh, damn! You sound
We
so
can
good.
hear you.
Hold on. I'm going to come back.
Okay. So I'm just looking at some images of Antarctica, and I see a secure team.
Did you guys see the Tripoli thing, tinfoil hat with David as well?
Yeah,
Yeah.
of course. Yeah.
Yes, I see it.
That was really cool. And I was surprised at how the Tripoli guy, because he seems like he's a wacky comedian, but when he started like bringing out his opinion, I mean, I was surprised at how wise the guy was.
Oh, he's great. No, he'll surprise you. I mean, I remember when I first started listening, I was like, who is this guy? And the more you listen to him, the guy knows his stuff.
Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
All right, good. Sorry. So what was I saying? I don't remember.
Telling us how you got on the show.
Alex, how you got on the show.
All right. So she invited me on, told Alex we were going to have a guest, didn't even know my name. Then an hour before the show, he started looking into, asteroids. He didn't know what to look into. And and that's when he started, to examine, just like we all did. So he's in that awakening stage right now. The question is, what's he going to do with it? I don't know.
Very interesting.
This is from Phil Platt, who made has the Bad Astronomy site. I don't think it's called that anymore, but he's saying here this picture from Antarctica from space is clearly CGI, but you'll even say down here where it says NASA Goddard Space Flight Center Scientific Visualization Studio, and then it says here the blue marble data is courtesy of Reto Stockley. But we all know, and we've seen Paul on the plane show us, and I've showed people before where you can get all those images, and they're simply just images that you can wrap on a ball. There's never been something so easily faked on the public as this.
Yeah, and look at the brightness and the clarity and the crispness of the edges. It's just impossible. It would just be a white fuzzball if you can get that high.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
It's just utter nonsense. Hey, I'm going to let you guys go, but before I go, just a reminder, tomorrow night, Saturday night, 9 p.m. Eastern, I'm going to be on a big non-Flat Earth show where the host just woke up to Flat Earth, and he wants to surprise his audience with the topic, so I'm not allowed to mention it. But I will, and I kind of want to not alert the trolls where it is, so I'm going to notify everyone that has the app. I'll do a push notification, and it'll be the featured video as soon as the stream goes live. It'll probably go live, maybe an hour before, maybe 2 hours before. I'm not sure. And then I'll do a push notification. So anyone that can get there and go in the chat and help answer questions from all these people, they're going to be like, what are you saying?
What is going on?
And we could show, he's already telling me he wants me on for a second show before we've even done the first show, because he is in the, oh my God, the earth is flat
stage.
Yeah. And
David, it's awesome.
And he knows that it's going to upset a lot of people. So the more flat earthers we can have in there, just saying good things and pointing people in the right direction, it'll be amazing. It'll be great. So that's tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Eastern.
Awesome. David, do you have what would you say are the stages that you see people go through as you go, because you talk to a bunch of different channels that woke up to it, right?
Well, if you watch my own Benjamin timeline, flat Earth is ridiculous. The world can't be flat is stage 1. Stage 2 is how come I can't find out anything legitimate on the ball. Stage 3 is, oh my God, I don't want to be a flat earther. And stage 4 is, holy crap, the earth is flat. What am I going to do? And stage 5 is acceptance and empowerment. I don't know. How's that sound?
Sounds good.
Yeah, and then you join the Jeranism Friday Lounge.
Right.
That's right.
It's very clear steps.
All right, guys. Keep up the good work. I'll see you later.
Thanks, Dave.
Thanks, Dave.
Cheers.
All right. Well, that was Dave Weiss, and thank you guys for joining us. If you're just joining us, this is just a Friday Lounge show where we just kick back and chat. No main topic. I think I called it Waking Up today just because it seems like the world is doing that. I wanted to kind of ask you what's going on in Brazil, and I don't think many people probably don't know exactly what's been happening there. So you want to talk a little bit about that, Rodrigo?
Excuse me, one moment, please. One moment, please. I have a call, very important call here from NASA. No, I just joking. I need to go to my job. So I want to say thank you for the invitation, and see you on Sunday. It's gonna be a Globebuster show, Bob?
Yes, there will be. Yes.
Okay. Well, so
you don't have anything else you want to share, Iru? I thought you had something you wanted to show. No?
No, thank
you. Before you go, I know that you covered the what happened in Brazil with the Spanish community. How is it? How did people react to this?
No, very, very well, and and happy that the movement is growing up so fast, like David said before. The overall impression is that first of all, why they are so worried that they need to to try to attack the flat Earth conventions, something that happened also here in Argentina when I give that the presentation in March of this year that was exploding everywhere. Even we take an article into the New York Times. At that point, we reach from Argentina to the rest of the world, and the media here was completely crazy. They attacked me, a lot. I know that maybe you don't be aware because it's not reached the American standard public, but it was a crazy time. I don't know if you remind Rodrigo. Remember?
Yeah, I remember that there was a bunch of stuff happening. It was one of the first conferences, right? That really kind of
yes.
Mm-hmm.
And
that was it last year?
No, it was this year on March.
This year in March.
Yeah,
So after Barcelona,
March.
then.
Yes, after Barcelona. And well, when you start looking into the Brazil conference and start having the same, you need to ask why it's so important for the standard institution, the official institution, to trying to attack and debunk the flat Earth. Just people that is going to be together and have some time and trying to share information. Nothing like that. Nothing else than that. It's just a belief. If you want to see in that way for the official, institution, it's just a belief. You cannot attack that. But they are very worried, and well, the thing that the FlatCon goes into the mass media through this TV, really important TV show, that was amazing. And the guys here in Argentina, well, in Spanish community, they took really well.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Ira, did you get your English channel set up?
Not
yet.
Something strange happened to me because I put npt media because of course just npt was used for another guy, and I put the password that I always use, and when I tried to enter, it said that my password was incorrect, and I cannot recover. So I'm going to need to create another Gmail account and start over again. So no, I didn't. I hope for Sunday I'm going to. I have this Nur para Todos in English, running because I want to share with the English audience. So I hope I can do it. But in the meantime, if you want to look into my work, like you are. Presenting Nur para Todos and in YouTube or Patreon/Nur para Todos if you want to give me some support.
Yeah, so this is Iru's Patreon, so check that out. And that's patreon.com/Nur para Todos, and then, of course, his channel. I was looking at this thumbnail right here, Iru. What's going on with this?
Yes. Well, that was, I was just giving a random, hangout show I believe was on Sunday, just, to interact with the audience and things like that. And I opened an official NASA Apollo 16 documentary. And I tried to say the same as you. Why you need to stop at the middle of the going back to the Earth and do something outside the space.
It's ridiculous, isn't it?
It's ridiculous, completely. But and that in the official documentary, you see a bubble. But by complete a bubble, it's not that miniature that I put. I just put that random miniature, but you see the bubble, coming out of the astronaut suit. So
yeah, it makes no sense. People who don't know what they're, when they go out on the way back, it's to retrieve some film canister, which just imagine how ridiculous that would be. That craft's going to be destroyed supposedly when they come back. It's going to be burned up in the atmosphere. And so rather than, put that film canister somewhere on the inside where it can be retrieved by the astronauts, they put it on the outside where you have to go climbing on the craft in space to retrieve it.
It was
So
it was no sense at all. I mean, it just it doesn't have
But
any.
you see, you can if you put the Voyager's launch from the 70s, right? The Voyager had that disc, the golden disc, the
Right.
freaking golden disc, the ridiculous thing. That thing is in the outside of the thing. It's in the outside.
Go ahead.
Let me just make one more, just one more.
I knew you had
share
something you wanted to share. I just knew it.
Okay.
Okay, go
Okay,
ahead,
but
share.
first of all, look how
It's so ridiculous. This is one of my favorite
let-
films. This is either 16 or they also did it on 15 and as well.
Yes. First of all, you can clearly see the not just the Argos technique, but they have something in the foot, between the
motion
legs.
stuff?
Yeah, because it's like a stop motion thing. They cannot close the legs, They cannot put together like a normal behavior, just a normal body movement. They eat ice cream.
Oh boy.
It's crazy. But this is
Look at
official.
this
I mean,
stuff. Yeah, this is what I can't get
why
over.
is it rotating?
It's swing
What is
bears.
the thruster to rotate the thing and
Well,
stop?
the cameras
like,
weren't able to film the thrusters yet. That happened in the 90s.
No, come
Oh.
on. So mechanical. Yeah, I can
get a
imagine.
wheel?
But
It's
I
so
believe
obviously
it was-
done by strings, and the craft is hung in a black room. It's like ridiculous.
exactly. But they let me just. It's coming from here. It's going. Give me just 10 more seconds
No
because
problem.
it's going to come really soon. Because you have a lot of white points and like scratches on the film, but there is that one is not a film scratch because it's consistency with the frame rate.
Right, it's not a.
And
not a
it's coming
scratch.
exactly. It's coming into this front, and that is impossible to be just a film scratch because it's changing position. It's like changing orientation. That is why you can see more big dot right now, and more diminish in this point. It's like the typical.
Scratches don't even behave like that. They stay a little bit and then they go away. It's if they even stay on the.
And yes, exactly. So you can see that is not okay. Someone can tell you no, but the astronaut
Oh, of course,
maybe they have something in the backpack, and just dust up from the moon, and it's something that no.
It's so easy.
No, it's impossible.
That's what I said. It's so easy though. You could tell when you're a globe believer, and if you want this to be true, you could sit here and explain it to yourself all day. Oh, that's just a speck of dust.
Even comes in front of it here, right? It comes from it, obviously.
But no, it go really quickly. It goes just in one direction and the same direction as the legs of the astronauts trying to, for example, right now you can see the orientation is something like the. Let me just play it one more time. You can see like this kind of, tendency to go on that direction. The legs, the body, the rest of the body. That something is like. It's something like this is up and this is down,
Yeah.
You can see something like that, but it's that I showed before.
Giving him rope.
It's impossible to be just and the last. Let me just open it. I don't remember if.
So this is on the way to the moon, you say, Iru?
No,
This one.
getting back.
Getting back from
Getting
the moon.
back
They have a
from
live
the moon
feed
to
from
the
the
Earth.
television inside the control room there. They have a live feed.
Yes, and they stopped to do that. I mean, they stopped just to get outside and I don't know, repair something. It's not clearly to understand what they do at that moment in time.
Supposedly they're grabbing a film canister. You can if you rewound it a little bit, you could see him heading
okay.
back with it. But I think somebody's carrying it next to him. I've always thought there's a mysterious scuba diver in that video.
Okay. No,
Yeah,
and I
think Jared a while ago started see there was these guys in yellow, right, in the background, and you can pick them off. they're poorly hidden, right?
Yeah, I think it's just an easy technique that they could use, but I don't know about.
They kind of helping them out, right?
Right.
In a way, that was the idea.
It's super easy now. Now back there in the 60s and 70s, late 60s, early 70s, if they were using anything like that, then they were just ahead of us in technology. Like we already think that's true anyway. So.
And I was looking in the archives of NASA, and this is from the middle of this year. This is not an old one. It wasn't special for the Apollo 50th, I don't know how to pronounce, anniversary.
Yeah.
And it was a complete show, 2 hours and a half. But they have a few things that I didn't finish to look into, the complete thing, but they go to the official equipment and, with the boys and trying to power up again and, things like that, But let me just point it out a few things. The first one is that they show us like how they maybe do did something like fake the moon behavior on the astronaut, because I just keep sorry for my the unorganized thing, but it was something that caught me my attention, because they show like the like the hangar with all the Argos, just with cable hanging on the astronaut, but
even that one video we are going, that I made, we're hoaxing. That video shows them on the Argos and in the swimming pool as well.
Yeah, but this one, I never saw this one that I'm going to show you, and I want to show you, because I never saw this setup. Of course, maybe there is, all over the place, but I never saw it before. And of course, Adam Savage, he's a really friend of NASA.
Oh, he loves NASA.
Yeah, and right now, in this part, he's going to ask about how they train with the spacesuit in the vacuum chamber. This one, look at this one. This is footage courtesy of Discovery Access, and they are, just hanging on one center point,
Right.
And they compare it.
Oh, geez, thank you.
I mean, they are putting it out there,
What the
Put
hell?
it right in front of your face, don't they?
And look he has a hard time reaching the ground, just like we, he can't reach, he can't bend over and pick up a tool. How difficult it would be. Yeah.
Is
the same thing.
I want to make some comparison and just take this part over, this part apart, and compare with my other videos, and trying to access to Discovery Access and trying to find more of these gravity rigs. But they are showing your fucking face.
Right there in front of you.
Yeah.
Right in front of you, So really strange. But they also talk about, let me just...
That's the trick when they tell everybody it would be impossible to fake the moon landings, when it would really be quite easy.
Yeah, they put it right in front of your face. What's amazing about that is there was a Bart Sabrell video that came out not too long ago where I think PBS or somebody was debunking his claims on the moon landing, and the techniques that they used actually proved that they were faking it. Yeah, and it's like, so is this like the new technique, is to actually show exactly what is going on to debunk it, and then say, no, see, that proves that it isn't, when it clearly, proves that it is. I mean, talk about flipping it over right in front of your face. It's incredible.
And
let for a while this technique of, it's called all the planets or the images from the moon of the Earth, for instance, you get it in all shapes and sizes from all kinds of, it's kind of like the same thing. You know what I'm saying? They can do everything. Everything fits.
Yes, someone here say, I thought Iru was leaving. Yeah, man, I'm going to go, but let me just share this last. And thank you for the super chat. For this last part, because here is something that I want to mix with all the, suit training problems that NASA have, because they never show nothing. And Adam is going to ask to the astronaut how they train. So let me just play it.
The EMU and the new generation of what are the key differences between the legacy suits that you guys are currently using, the so-called ACES, the EMU, and the new generation of suits?
One of our biggest changes for the EVA suits is we're trying to make them an evolvable architecture. So you have one single core architecture that meets every destination from low Earth orbit and ISS all the way to the surface of Mars.
Oh, really? So not separate suits for each stage?
Exactly. So if you think about our life support system, it's kind of like the motherboard on your computer. As you get new technologies, you can just pluck out the old bit and plug in a new piece. So that's really a great way to keep going, so we don't have to do a new suit for every mission.
And that's
Randy,
and now.
Wow. So like every single spacesuit is like, the best for every single mission, and it's like totally really cool,
But then they're actors. They're obviously actors, right? It's just like
And they brought out the new suits, and there is different suits for each thing. They had to bring out the one suit that's going to be on the moon, the one suit that's going to be for interplanetary, the one suit that's going to be for Mars, so they completely just debunk themselves.
They have the Virgin suit as well.
Listen how this guy react to the question of Adam is going to make.
I don't believe in
testing
atoms.
These new generation,
a new suit for every mission.
Okay.
And Randy, you are actually testing these new generations of suits for Artemis. Is that correct?
It's great. We've got testing on how we're going to actually have the suit fit. Where do we need the mobility? Are we able to use things like suit ports?
Now.
Be able to leave the suit outside.
After
be able to come inside through a little hatchway in the back of the suit.
Now.
That's my favorite new thing. How are you testing that in giant vacuum chambers?
In fact, we are. We have
giant vacuum chambers?
In fact, we are.
In fact, we are. Yeah. It's like a Disney character, Yeah.
Oh, now that you mention it, yes.
Yeah, now you mention, like a giant vacuum chamber.
It's like the Massimino seeing the Magellan clouds. Oh, you can see everything there from there. You can see the Magellan clouds and
the Magellanic Lights.
We have a giant vacuum chamber.
Oh, we lost sound.
Uh-oh.
You lost sound?
Oh, there you are.
From the video.
It's the chamber. You can
hear
it?
It is.
Yeah, we hear it
now.
Okay.
Inside, I'm getting ready to hop in it, at like 10.2 PSI. And so the suit's all stiff, like it's out in the spacewalk, and you got to crawl inside the back of the suit, get your arms and legs into it. They close up the back of the suit, and then we closed the hatch, and then actually detached the suit in vacuum, and did a bunch of mobility translations around the area. What can we reach? What can we touch? But then the key point to the suit port testing was actually backing up,
going home,
to the
getting back in,
because obviously you need to get hooked back up to be able to get inside the doorway. And so we worked on different ways to be able to see or be able to feel or make little guides to guide you back in, to be able to open it back up and then crawl back out.
So, but the funny part is, did you know the C1 spacesuit, how it is?
So basically entering from the back of the suit into another environment that's pressurized from the outside of the environment.
Yes,
without causing a trouble, no problem with the pressure there.
No, but because this is the C1 spacesuit. This is how they tested it.
Well, so and I am not joking. Right.
Yeah, this is the spacesuit. It's exactly
Like the Toy Story guy.
Looks like Buzz.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not joking, man. It's exactly.
Wow.
They are not joking about this. This is the suit, and in fact, you can go to the video section and see how they trying to test it. But they look at that woman.
Oh,
they never show how they enter into the giant vacuum chamber and trying to put all together. They never.
So where the back of this thing? They kind of get into the back. What the hell?
Exactly, man. So they don't have any kind of real video about this giant vacuum chamber where they make his experiments, and with the real people inside of the spacesuit and trying to survive. just to that vacuum that is not even the 10% of the real vacuum out in the space. Supposedly,
Remember that one the BBC did, that they put these guys inside the chamber, but then there was all these other people without protection inside the chamber at the same time? Yeah. That was the last one I saw.
If you compare this with real life scenarios, like for example a pilot that needs to enter into the SR-71, it's not even comparable. I mean, this is just
it looks like it's made of
toy
plastic or something. It looks like it looks really crappy made.
Yeah, that is how they test it. You know, super real, man. I mean,
so real.
Okay, guys, see you on Sunday. Thank you for all the people in the chat, and I hope you have a nice show. Bob, take care of Sharon. Because if
please,
not,
I need it.
You know what is going on. Okay.
Yeah, I'll keep an eye on him. No worries.
Thank you.
Okay. Goodbye, everyone. Thank you for the invitation.
Ciao, ciao.
All right. See you next week.
Bye.
Or see you Sunday. Yeah, I think it's interesting that I still want to always have a camera going through that back end and looking out that helmet, because that helmet's going to distort whatever you're looking out. Just I always like to point that out.
As well. And of course, I mean, a helmet like that with a bunch of glass, I mean, you hit it on anything, it's a huge hazard, right? It's like covering your, like a bubble of glass. Like, what?
Yeah, you'd certainly think so.
And when you think I was talking to for instance, the first suits that they actually have that cover the whole person are those, we call in Portuguese, escafandro, are those suits that for deep sea diving, right? And they're pressurized in a way that you can, I think the first ones, you don't even have a way of looking out because the pressure is a problem with glass. Once they figured that out, I think it was like super protected and very little of it. And you know what I'm saying? Because it needs to resist the pressures. The person can barely move in those suits.
Yeah. Oh, I know. Yeah. It's ridiculous. If you blew up something like that, you would be so incredibly restricted. There's no way that you'd be able to move. But then did you see? Well, you saw when they marched the girl out there, right? They actually had the audacity to claim that, this is already pressurized. It's like, yeah, my butt it is.
Yeah, right.
There's no way.
Oh, but they'll have you believe it.
Yep. Well, if it can make people believe that they can stop a leak with a finger, you know, they can do anything.
Right.
Really.
That's why they have that story. It's just magic.
Yeah, it's a Superman, right? They're just they're so special. They can do all that stuff. Like Chris Hadfield, so amazing, and he can sing so well, and it's so beautiful. Like how he
with no
draws
delay.
on
no delay at
space. No delay. He can do that when he wants. It's like it's one of his abilities. Because when you're an astronaut, you get rectal probing. That's really important. You get the psychological test in rectal probing. That gives you extra ability. So if you want to stop the delay, they can make the projection into, the dark matter. And they have their dark matter projection here, and that can that's why they're doing it. It's a secret space program, dark matter communication, like in Star Wars.
Yeah, that's what to have you believe.
Crazy.
So the stuff in Brazil, you guys are seeing.
Yeah, I was interested in that TV show. I don't think a lot of people understand what that TV show is and how popular it is and what's happened in the last week. By the way, thank you to the other super chat from Glaucoma who said to infinity and beyond, mother effers. And you were left, so that he finally fulfilled that promise. So there you go. So thank you for the super chat. But go ahead.
Yeah, I covered. I did a live stream, and then that got blocked worldwide immediately. But it's not censorship necessarily. It's just copyright from the network that look over. They probably have some sort of special deal because their channel has like 7 million subscribers on that show, on YouTube. So it is a major network show from one of the Brazilian networks. It is a network that is one of the main competitors of Globo, the Globe network. It's called the Globe, which was helped by the military dictatorship. It's part of the propaganda apparatus for the control of the population back in the 60s, where, in the 70s as well into the 80s, where they were even killing journalists who spoke against the government, and artists had to, for a while, change the lyrics of their songs, pretend they're not talking about the government, but actually talking about the government. because of the censorship. So it was kind of what we see now, but it was worse. Like if you caught any song you wanted to publish or put a record out, you had to send it to the propaganda people, the people in the government. They have to check all your lyrics to see if it's good to go. And then you get to go. That's how it used to be in Brazil. So Globo is one of the companies that grew because of this, through the censorship. Now it became the biggest network. Then there's this other network, SBT, which is started by kind of a self-made man. He was literally ambulant, we call it, a guy who sells trinkets in the street, from a little tent. And he became one of the Brazil's richest men. He's very hardworking. He has a Sunday show that he's been giving for, as long as I know myself, essentially. The guy's been on TV on his network doing the Sunday show. He gives money to people. He has all these things. It's weird. He's huge. People love him in Brazil, but he's not necessarily. Maybe he's not held by. And you have a lot of tension in the Brazilian government, a lot of suspicion with the media. But somehow this guy Danilo Gentili, that has this kind of David Letterman, Jay Leno style show, is what it seems to be, my opinion. He understands the flat earth arguments, not from now, not many of them, maybe doesn't understand everything about it. And it's hard to know how much he's pretending not to know in his latest show from the questions he's asking, because in 2017, he made a skit. Because his show is kind of like a mix, it's Jay Leno has a band, live band, and he does some skits, kind of like Saturday Night Live sometimes. This guy can wear costumes, and he's quite edgy. He makes dirty jokes. It's okay to curse, talk about, sex and things like that. And he's known to be aggressive, critic of politicians and make fun of people openly. So, you would have expected this guy to really come after them and try to ridicule them and try to make them look stupid or something like this. But it was very far from this. And what I saw in 2017, this little skit, it's not well known, is that he was making these flat earth arguments and asking, so they say it doesn't spin, so they say this, they say that. And it was, 2 years ago. And then now, after the conference came out, he decided to invite them. What did he do? He promoted the conference like crazy. He brought out a magazine. Now there's a Brazilian magazine called Terra Plana. And this magazine has sold 1,000 copies right away, right at the wake of the conference and the controversy that arose from the persecution they suffered from the media. But the problem is that came out at the same time a report came out saying that 11 million Brazilians are flat earthers. So that happened within a week.
Where did that report come from? Was it in the media, in the news, or did it first pop out? Because I've heard that recently, but I don't know where it came from.
Yeah, Brazil has some institutes, they're private institutes, different ones that conduct what they call pesquisa de opinião, research of opinion, of public opinion. So they constantly out asking questions to the public, and they constantly report. So it is, you'd expect that somebody would be asking the question at some point. Somebody would say, okay, so what about flat earthers? They say they exist. So let's take a poll. Let's check it out. Go ask. And they get they have people around Brazil. They go around and they stop people in the street, literally, and they have a little thing that they're asking the question. They count. They do it like that. So these are polling institutes. They're and of course, some of the stuff is, of course, I'm not the complete believer in statistics. Of course, they can be manipulated. There's all kinds of stuff. But this came out saying 11 million Brazilians, when you do the projections, right, these extrapolations from the answers, you get that number. So the conference that came mixed together. So it is from Brazilian sources like mainstream news, essentially. It's there. I can dig it out. But that hit the news pretty hard. Then the conference came. Then they started being persecuted. Then essentially there's this turnaround where this kind of thing is growing and growing. And people are, any kind of attack they receive, they kind of rip it apart, because they got to be following what's going on outside of Brazil. this is why I want to kind of do a little bit of work on how to connect the two sides, because there's some strengths there. There's some really strong channels, and we have, things going on for years. So I want to, this is one of the things I'm trying to do, get myself to doing, which is go through some of the people I know personally and whose works I have followed. So like there's a lot of Globebusters, for instance, but there's just so much right now. I have to start someplace. So I'm starting with Paul on the plane, and then I'm going to move from channel to channel where I believe it will benefit Brazilians to know a bit more about what's been done outside, and to have it, because Paul's videos are easy to do because they're short. And I have also Jaren's video. Jaren's video is also important. Now I'm debating if I'm going to put that video out as parts, or if I'm just going to go for the whole thing, because I cannot show it in the conference. The conference got so crazy. I thought I was going to have a chance to show Jaren's video, which is an hour long, but they're telling me I can only have 10 minutes now. So I'm gonna make a kind of talk a little bit about my trajectory, kind of something. I'm gonna do something, but the thing is, the people, those guys who were on the TV show, two of them are good friends now with me and Ito, and we've been talking to them live for already like 8 hours if you count everything, right? And I constant contact with Siddhartha, especially, and Jean, these two guys, Papo Plano and Professor Terra Plana, and we're hashing out all sorts of ideas. So there's a magazine. We're going to try to do a bridge. So I want to bring information that has come out from Globebusters, from way back in the archives. It's almost like you have, archives. These people did this and that date, that type. Look at this discussion, and kind of get the gist of it. So get people to get back, so that we can get a little bit of a kind of a historical timeline of how things evolve. Things have been happening so fast, and we do have a paradigm shift coming. It's it's inevitable.
Absolutely. Speaking of that, Rodrigo, and I don't know if you guys saw this. I just posted this in our chat. But speaking of instant polls, and how they're polling and finding out, about the flat earthers. Of course, we all saw the poll about the millennials. And something like over 60% of the millennials were believing either in a flat earth or that it was not a globe. And one of the major gamers called Asmongold did a live online poll, and he's in there going, no, the flat earth, not a big deal. So he does it, and instantly, within a matter of seconds, well over 2,000 votes came in, and it was pretty much overwhelming that people are saying, yeah, the earth is flat. And the look on his face was utterly priceless.
Can I play this, Bob?
I'm sorry, Jaron?
Can I play it?
Yeah, I don't see any reason why you can't play it.
Okay.
It's priceless. It's only a minute long.
Yeah, do you remember the number, the poll?
Well, let's watch. Let's see. Oh, you need to. I'll share the screen because you don't see what I'm doing here, huh? Share screens. There we go.
We'll watch it. This is freaking priceless.
Okay, let me make sure I've got that on. All right, here we go. With sound, Bob?
Yeah, go ahead and play with sound.
Okay, good.
That the majority of people thought the earth was flat. Okay? So, I'm not really going to base a whole lot of credibility. It is? Okay, you know what? You want to have a vote on that? Let's have a vote on that. All right, is the earth flat, actually? Yes, no. All right, we'll do this one here, okay, guys? Give me a second. There you go.
Look at the look on his face.
Uh-oh. Looks like more than 3%.
Like, oh, shit.
And if we look at those numbers right before it went off, it looked like out of 2118
52 to 40,
votes,
yeah,
1,200 or 1,128 votes yes, and 982 votes no.
Yeah, pretty telling.
A little bit more than 3%, I've been told, or 1%, or half of 1%, or whatever else we get told. That's classic.
Yeah, and this is exactly why, guys, that we are seeing this unbelievable propaganda release about things like Antarctica and drones and people and first women going around Antarctica, which is utter nonsense. We know that. And, all of this stuff is coming out. And, of course, now InfoWars is on board. And, it's starting to hit that point right now where it's like an avalanche point. And the mainstream knows it. And all they can do is shut things down, ridicule. There are armies, fleets of trolls out there that are, alleged debunkers. And it's unbelievable. Just since I opened, and by the way, guys, I put it in the chat earlier, but I finally put back up the Globebusters 24/7 chat on the Globebusters 2 live feed, Flat Earth live feed on the Globebusters 2 channel. And it is amazing. It instantly drew all these trolls. It's like they were clearly assigned to the channel, right, to try and debunk and steer people away. And that is what we deal with. They're in every single channel. We know it happens. You got YouTube censoring. You got them putting all the debunker vids at the very top. You see the propaganda machine in utter overdrive. Guys, we're killing them. We're absolutely killing them. And this should be obvious to anybody that's even remotely on the fence. Watching this happen, if you're halfway cognizant at all, you got to realize that, if Flat Earth was just nonsense by a bunch of crazies, there would not be this unbelievable, effort and push to, push back, right? And they call it a failure of the education system. And you know what? They're right. It is a failure of the education system. It's a failure to indoctrinate the people. People, fortunately, have not been quite indoctrinated enough, even though there's many, many that have. But so many of them are now able to, kind of see beyond that and are coming out of the stupor. And it's got the powers that be in an utter alarm state.
It's almost like that, right? It's like people coming out of a haze, kind of a daze, kind of this shadow of the ball, right? It's kind of the ball holding the prisoner's ankle kind of thing. And then suddenly it's like, it's kind of funny. I have to talk about my dog. Some dogs, when they really have to go, and immediately after they do it, it's like they're lighter, so they're like flying. You know what I'm saying? Right. It's kind of like that. It's kind of like, oh my God, I didn't know I had this kind of, thing in my stomach holding me back. And then you poop it out, you're off. It's kind of like that, really. It's like pulling out a kind of, another metaphor would be a parasite. It is a parasite of the mind. It's like the whole ball itself is a trap, because if you're imagining yourself in that cosmos, you're locked to a ball of mass,
Mm-hmm.
It's odd, the whole thing. You're flying. Of course, you came out of nowhere. You're a flying monkey, cosmic, and the universe is expanding. But then you also locked to this spinning ball, spinning in all these other directions.
And you'll never realize it. You'll never guess the speeds. You'll never feel the speeds. And that's why I think, Bob, talking about doing our presentations, at least the Globebuster part of it, is I might just cover the scaling and variance again, because once you realize that you can scale those numbers to anything, and then you realize that they could wake up tomorrow and come out and say, oh, we're actually spinning 17 billion miles per hour. We're flying through space at a certain speed, and you would have to believe it, because there's no choice.
Now, one thing that my mom was telling me, because she's been watching NASA stuff as comedy, she sometimes she misses it, like some of the stuff. She wants to laugh at it. She thinks it's so ridiculous now. But she was saying that there was this program with NASA people claiming that the Earth rotation has tilted into a different position, or the axis is tilted, because the Indians are pulling too much water from the aquifers.
What? No.
Oh, jeez.
Like, she was like, I can't believe they're actually saying this. I swear. She's like, I want to show you. I was like, I believe it. I mean, there's the type of thing that they would come up. It's just insane when you start looking at it, when you finally cross. So that's what we're talking about, the stupor and the need for the paradigm shift, and the need to go back into the beginning of how to try to package this in a way actually for people because a lot of people are coming into that. It's like waking up from, the judgment sort of moment, this kind of separation of the wheat and the chaff kind of thing. For me, it felt like it's like, you can see through finally, these guys, David Wilcock, Neil deGrasse Tyson, all these people, Richard Dawkins, all these people that be now promoted in the media with their BS, all just falls apart. And then suddenly you can, for a lot of people, I thought these guys already way before were sketchy, but, for a lot of people, you really prove it and you drive it home. And after that, they do have to try to go through all the questions, because imagine after, in my case, 40 something years, you're going through the whole life getting bombarded with different elements of this cosmology of the space. So there's a whole lot in there. Like there's a whole alien stuff, people believe it, there's a whole math, there's so many different things. And we know how people are programmed even slowly through the repetition of the daily routine. Television, of course, is part of that routine. People even go, in Brazil, people watch TV during dinner, during lunch, all the time. So how many instances of programming they have been pushed, and how does that affect people, and then how can people go along deprogramming themselves? So we're all doing this. Some people have come to my channel and said, this is kind of deprogramming material. So we're all doing this, but I think that, and then this is one of the things that is great about this show, and we need people to get on collaborating with this kind of stuff. Even just talking about it helps people. Like, sometimes just listening to how we reason, how we laugh at these things and understand them in the level we don't understand, helps people feel secure as well in what they are feeling. And because the whole world's telling them they're crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree with that, Rodrigo. And there's so many different angles to this also. One other thing that I thought was absolutely amazing, of course we know, and this is more Ira's department, but not only is the propaganda, gearing up, but the tools that the elite are using and NASA is using, even though they seem to hire really sucky graphic artists, are becoming unbelievable. I don't know if you guys saw the post. Actually, I'm gonna put this one in our internal chat also, but I found a video, and it's called "New Robot Makes Soldiers Obsolete," and this thing is unbelievable. What goes on with this? I mean, they have this robot, and I'm not sure how they do this, but and I'm sure they want you to believe that it's real, but they've got this robot that is shooting things out on a target, and they have all these guys that are kicking it around, hitting it with hockey sticks. They'll stand right in front of it with a gun and all this. And it's clear to me that it is a person, but the way that they've got this thing overlaid, with this robot suit it's a trip. It's absolutely a trip. It looks like, Jaren's going to look at it. But this is the kind of stuff that they have got available to them now. And, whether they can do this real time or not, I'm not sure. But my God, it looks so realistic.
Now, this is clearly not. It's VFX, right?
Yeah, it is. But wow,
I'll bring it up here. And I will play without sound so we can see it a little bit.
Yeah. One of the problems is that their live stuff is still quite glitchy. Their post-production, they could do a better job, but who knows? Yeah, you're right. I mean, some of the stuff is kind of black magic, and I'm not sure there is a program, which I think is the one I even sent Iro. I think it is the program that they use. It's called Black Magic Fusion. It is a program that does all these things.
Yeah, and yes, it is fake, Glock. It's definitely fake. But my point here is that look at this. This is absolutely amazing. That it appears to be absolutely interactive. That they are kicking it around. They hit it. They shove it to the ground. Stand in front of it. It's like, wow. And of course, there are people that are going to look at this and go, God, that's incredible. I can't believe our robotics technology has gotten that good.
That's coming.
Yeah. But wow.
And
This just blew
the
me away.
shadows are perfect. So I mean, yeah, when you've got a craft on Mars, supposedly, I mean, I don't think you're going to be able to disprove it by just looking at it anymore and saying, oh, well, this shadow's off or this shadow. It can be done probably in real time.
Yeah.
Without much effort.
Yeah, I think somebody said they showed how it was done at the end of it. I didn't see that, but whatever. But it's amazing. It truly is. And we've already seen what the real-time graphics, what they can do real-time. It's just, that's astounding also. And, like Eero has said, several times before, it's like there is going to be a point when we're not going to be able to tell the difference. And I think the only reason that they don't use it now, it's not that they don't really pretty much have the technique perfected, but there's always that little thing where computers will be computers and they will glitch. And if they glitch and screw up live, it gives away the whole gig, right? And that's the one thing that they've really got an issue with.
Yeah, right there at the very end there, the smoke seemed a little bit sketchy. Like you can tell the particles that they were using there.
Here's a video.
But it's for somebody for.
Here's a video of the reveal. Or I found this over here in the lower right, so it's just a VFX before and after.
Mm-hmm.
So people can see what you're actually looking at, and wow, how realistic CGI has gotten. And yeah, I'm not sure how real time they can do this, but with a good enough computer, you could do it in real time.
Mm-hmm. Well, they got a guy. They got a guy that knows how to act like a robot as well to get the impression that it is a robot. See, like he's actually doing it. He's like a mime or something.
Yeah, it's just like those deep fakes, right? With the people's face and everything. It's kind of works the same.
Yeah, I think this is even kind of commercial. I guess you get the whole 3D positioning. Rig. I'm not sure it is infrared cameras with different dots and different things on the body, like how these suits, the motion capture suits work together with the 3D positioning of the kind of surroundings, and they're able to do this. But it's almost at the point I think that you can get this at home. You can get one of these suits that can do the capture of movement and then pop it into a puppet.
Yeah, they've been doing it for years too with video games and things like that. That you have real world sensors on people or sensors on real world people, and then they translate right onto the screen. Wow.
Yeah, Hollywood again, right?
Yeah, they're being made available to the gamers.
Right.
It's amazing. You can get VR goggles for your phone, these days, and just have some amazing 3D. Virtual reality right on your own little Samsung Galaxy. It's just unbelievable, or iPhone, whatever.
That's insane. Yeah, that's. So I don't know what we're supposed to do anymore when it comes to. I mean, thank goodness we found some of this flat Earth stuff before it was too late, which is getting to that period of time right now where there's nothing I could believe that they could send back from the moon, from Mars. At this point now, you just realize that experience is what produces truth. And all this stuff, they're going to make it seem like it's an experience. They're going to make you seem like it's real, but it doesn't mean it's real at all.
Yeah, and in fact, it's likely not real because that's really what it's coming to. Is they're bringing us to a completely false reality in every way, shape, and form. False news, false medicine, false law, false society, false people. Honestly, I mean, people are being changed from men to women and women to men, and everything's artificial and nothing's real anymore. And growing up in this, I can only imagine. I'm going to be 59, in 5 days, and I've seen enough of this world change that it absolutely boggles the mind. And I look at people like my son, who's 16 years old, and his friends, and it's like, what would it be like to grow up? In this era of complete falsity, how does that impact you psychologically? It's scary. Really
but it also is very good that you stepped out of it, because imagine you'd be buying a bunch of video games or playing, or thinking you're going to space or hooting at SpaceX. At least you're not doing any of that. That's a huge relief. You know what I'm saying? At least for us.
Yeah.
I'm reading some of these comments from people who thought it was real. Of course, and the title doesn't help people really. The title's basically saying it's real.
New robot makes soldiers obsolete.
Right. That's not helping anybody. But it's just surprising to me. I mean, how many people will believe this? Because it will be a ton. People will believe this, and you'll hear it in conversations where somebody will say, well, we don't even need soldiers anymore. Look at the robots they have.
Yeah, and these guys are at least showing that it's fake, but the government is not going to do that. The government is going to present crap like this like it's absolutely real, and they already do, right? And that's the thing that people really need to be aware of, because seeing is no longer believing anymore, especially in this 21st century age of digital technology. It's like it's now more of a deception than ever. And it is so easy to be taken in. How many times have we done things, on Globebusters, even, where I've been taken in by it, like the one clip I remember.
Oh, the guy diving through the rooftop.
That's exactly the one I was going to say. It's like, man, I totally fell for that. Hook, line, and sinker. It's like, wow.
We all have something. Yeah, definitely. I've fallen for so much. I don't know who's still falling for this kind of nonsense, but I just pulled that. And you're seeing, are you guys noticing a lot more channels like this that are just playing the live stream and saying it's live, and then you have to read down further and it says, oh, well, it's not really live. These are just cuts, or I see it all the time now.
They also do reruns pretending it's live.
Right, all the time.
Yeah, people don't even know that the ISS feed has been, retired.
Right.
And so, you get the space fantasy channels, and it's unbelievable because they'll get thousands of viewers that'll sit there and watch it, as if it's real. And they don't even realize not only is it complete fake CGI, but it's just a rerun of something that they did several years back. And, how many times have we looked at it and said, look, you look at this, you look at the Earth and the ISS flying over it, there's absolutely no parallax whatsoever on it. If you compare it to reality, any real-time weather feed, or even just step outside and look up, nothing about it matches. And it is so hard to believe that people are that far gone that they can't get this, and that's why I've talked about the common sense part of all this, it's going 5 miles a second, for crying out loud, 10 times the speed of a bullet. And, it's the whole time it's catching the light perfectly and shining it down to us here on Earth. And, for 3,000 miles across the sky, it's like, where is people's common sense?
Right.
What about that new photograph or image that they have the star trails from the ISS, and the star trails are perfectly
God, I know.
So bad.
It's bolting around the world it supposedly once every 90 minutes, and you have a perfect star. Anybody that's ever shot a time lapse has got to know that if you even bump that damn camera, it's going to blur the image. It's
exactly.
Like, let alone going 17,000 miles an hour. Holy Toledo.
And look what they're doing. Look what they're doing here to people by telling them NASA ISS live stream, Earth from space, ISS live feed, showing images like this one in the lower left, this one in the lower right, which are not live at all, and just convincing people. 41,000 likes, 234 people watching live now.
Which is way low, really.
They're just buying into this. And again, I mean, they're not showing the video when it goes offline or when it says, oh, sorry, we're switching sides. That always makes me laugh, too, when they're on the dark side of the planet, right, and they say they've lost connectivity, but they can do 8-hour spacewalks and they don't lose connectivity at all.
Where exactly is the dark side of the planet, though?
Right.
That's the crazy part. It's like, what, we only have satellites on one side and the people on the other side of the world are, completely blacked out?
One of the videos that I think people should watch, I think I saw it recently, is that woman, that one that laughs her ass off, like the one that has 666 days in space. That woman, I forget her name. Her, and then she's with another guy, the newbie, the guy that snorts coke in space. Jared, the same guy you caught snorting coke.
Oh yeah, that guy, two fish
from a hole, from a tube or something.
Yeah,
that guy and her, they're there, and then they're talking to some high school, and they are giving this huge delays, like 10, 11 seconds delay. And then so they give a delay. They pretend they're not listening to what's coming in real time. But the guy's reacting real time. So they give a delay to speak. Then they speak and the audience reacts, and they react real time. No delay in their reaction. And like over and over again, because the guy's like a newbie. Have you seen that?
I don't think so.
It's quite interesting. Just how, because basically, the very first thing that happens is that they ask something like, so are you all in space, and blah, 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 and everybody hoots, like, woo-hoo! You know, like the whole school. And then the guy reacts right away. He makes like some goofy, clowny face immediately instead of waiting for the 10, 11 seconds that they just acted supposed to be there and their delay. Now, of course, you have any number of delay seconds that you can find. So it doesn't take some sort of really... It doesn't take a genius to just look at this stuff and think, okay, let's see the delays, if they make sense. Like you're a scientist, okay, go look at the delays. Go where they say they are, where they say they're transmitting to, and the variations that you get. Just that you find enough to kind of doubt the whole thing.
And the fact that it takes milliseconds, thousandths of a second to switch cameras, not 20 minutes.
The whole switching
so ridiculous. Switching cameras. As if this is the 1960s or something. Well, it would have been 1930s.
It's never been that slow, ever.
I don't know what we're supposed to believe with that. This video I just found, it says, what does the Earth look like from deep space? And, of course, everything is fake.
No flat earthers.
Yeah, no flat earthers. I saw that. But this is completely faked. This is not real, of course. And, anybody who thinks this is Earth and this is a picture from Saturn... And for some reason, the planet's black, but you can see the ring. I mean, it's just such nonsense. Why anybody would believe any of this stuff, I have no idea. Clearly, this is not what Earth looks like from deep space, and no flat earthers. I just laugh this because how easy it would be for me to make these videos. What does Earth look like from deep space? All this guy did was grab a video of the ISS, this video here, which is completely nonsense.
Cartoon.
Right. Then grab another CGI image like this, which is completely cartoon. I mean, what's going on?
No, and again, like one thing, for instance, like with the whole Star Trail thing, which is so ridiculous, right? When you see these videos like this, the stars move in a different direction.
Right.
Like, I'm not kidding. Like these videos of course, that when they first start showing stars in the ISS, because they didn't have stars before, magically the stars start appearing together with the landscape, together with the storms and lightning storms that stay in the same place, which is another thing that I saw, that the lightning storms stay in the same place in some of their animations. Amazing. Like, it's totally crazy. But then the stars, they move in a certain way in the back. That has nothing to do with that. I mean, that Star Trek, you should show that, because that came out. Me and Bob were talking about that just now. Oh, goodness. That one is just such a shot in the foot. They got a total idiot to try and do something. So, I mean, how can people not wake up after they look at that? It just looks...
Yeah, I don't know what it's going to take. I mean, we can just keep talking about it.
Yeah.
And that's I think the best method is, because some people just need to hear it over and over again. Then they need to check into it for themselves, do some research, try to find some live video of the Earth from space. Of course, you'll find the Ustream, which goes offline or has been removed, and then people can start to figure it out for themselves. Until then, I don't know what it's going to take.
Well, that guy that you were watching that spacewalk, I never forgot. And I put that in one of my videos, because that guy that's sleeping holding some sort of feather-looking thing. Now, for how long did you watch him? Because like an hour he was just standing there outside of the station.
Yeah, you remember that? That's funny.
Yeah.
I forgot that.
It's sleep. I guess he was asleep or so. You guys are cracking up because it was absolutely ridiculous. Just standing there.
Yeah, my wife and I did a little overlay of voices, because it was just hilarious. He had it wasn't a feather; it was like a red sword, and I found out at the end it was the Olympic torch. Believe it or not, they took the Olympic torch.
Oh goodness!
Oh man!
Just like they do, you know that they took a lightsaber as well into the space station, right? On 1148
or
1138, which is the THX 1138, is a Lucasfilm.
Yep.
George Lucasfilm.
The whole stuff in space is just ridiculous. Where they get these things? The other day they did a little hello from the ISS space astronauts saying hello to baseball fans during the World Series, and they were throwing a baseball around. It's like, how did you get a baseball? I mean, it's just so stupid. Who's packing these ships and sending baseballs up there? And a jersey, and of course...
jerseys from all teams,
right,
the props. No, they had the Angry Birds with Don't Pet It, of course, the genius, playing Angry Birds in the station. Seen that one?
Yep.
So, Jaron, I'm curious what you guys think about the whole, and I just dropped a link in the chat, but the whole thing that is supposedly going to be taking place in Seattle, the false flag attack on November 3rd, which of course is Sunday. And they've got this whole thing about, something about during the Seattle Seahawks versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers game. Of course, Seattle Seahawks, they're kind of comparing to, what is it, Horus, I think, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the skull and bones type stuff.
Yeah. Well, it's in their symbols. I saw the Martinez thing. I need to run for a second to the loo here, and I'll be back in 2 seconds.
I'll go to the restroom.
I have something to say about that too.
I'm going to go to the restroom real quick too, Bob. Okay. So we can take a quick break here. We'll be right
Bob
back.
is going to go on a monologue, Bob.
Bob monologue, or you can take a 2-minute pee break real quick.
Okay.
We'll be right back, guys. You're listening to the Friday Lounge. Don't go anywhere.
All right. Well, I guess I'm the only one that doesn't have to go on a loo break. So, yeah, guys, this is really an amazing subject. We'll be talking about it here in a minute. But in the meantime, like I said, I'll just do a shameless plug here on the Globebusters 2 24/7 channel, which I finally put back up, due to a rather large demand. A lot of people were asking me, what happened to it. And, I took it down because at one point it was, getting very few views. And that's, I think, because I had it on the 24/7 Flat Earth channel, which didn't have a whole lot of subs. So I brought it back on the Globebusters 2 channel. And it is the 24/7 live feed. I'm adding, it's currently got a database of like over 600 videos right now. And I'm trying to add, 5, 6, 7 videos a day to it so that it's got a really good rotation. But it will be running continuously from here on out. And it's got a lot of the old, really good stuff, videos that YouTube, of course, has censored and, flat out removed either due to channel bans or anything like that. Of course, the good thing about this is once I download it, it actually stores the video on the server. So even if the channel gets taken down or banned or anything like that, I still have it complete with backups and everything. So if you guys are a fan of, liking having things to listen to in the background, or if you have friends that, are not convinced, just send them over to that. I've made a concerted effort to put up, some of the best videos from some of the best content producers around the plane on it. And I think it's very, very helpful for those that really would just want to sit back and watch something, a bunch of little short clips. Some of them are longer, some go up to 30, 40 minutes, but, I try and overall keep them relatively short. And, of course, there's a lot of the excerpts from some of the old Globebuster shows in there where we had some really interesting topic information that we covered. So, yeah, yes. Mods, if you would spam that in there. Is
it possible to download everything from that all at once?
No. Well, it's a live stream, and so I do have to reboot the server periodically because unfortunately it's running on a Windows server OS, and Windows, Microsoft, they always got to have updates, and it's like, well, we got to reboot, or otherwise you're not protected. And working in IT myself, I know the dangers of these ransomware viruses, and I certainly don't want anything like that to happen. But so I'm pretty anal about keeping it up to date. Mm-hmm.
Cool.
I'm back to Bob. Do you want me to show you? You're talking about the Globebusters 2 channel?
Yep, I sure am.
Yep. Okay, I got that up just so people can see. So that's basically just a 24/7 stream.
Yep.
So I guess I get confused on these myself a little bit. So like down here under uploads, there's Globebusters intro a day ago. That's 2 minutes and 30 seconds. So those are just regular uploads. But if you go there at any time, there'll always be a video playing in the live stream. Is that how it works?
Yep, always, yeah. And obviously, when we got our strike, I guess it's been a couple of years ago. We actually had to do the show on Globebusters 2,
right?
For a couple months or whatever until they finally lifted it. So if nothing else, if everybody subs to it, if anything, God forbid, ever happened to the Globebusters channel, we would resume either doing it on the Globebusters 2 or possibly on the Jeranism channel. But we want to at least have a backup. But in the meantime, I've got these channels just sitting around, and I thought, and I've got lots of servers sitting around, so I just decided that this is a really good thing to do with it, and it passes the time for a lot of flat earthers, and it's just a good good review, I guess, and new experience for a lot of people.
And you've got some fantastic videos on here, like mine. So.
Absolutely. Got some great journalism videos on there. You bet.
Right. So that's awesome. All right. So, yeah, definitely subscribe to Globebusters 2. And do we have any other channels they need to subscribe to just in case? I kind of like the method that Owen Benjamin's been doing, which is he has a few channels in case one goes down. We have Globebusters 2. We have Globebusters, the original. Is there still a Globebusters 24/7?
There is. There's a Globebusters 24/7, and that's the one that I was running the 24/7 feed, but I think it only has less than 1,000 subs on it or something like that.
Right.
So maybe we should promote that a little bit or something just to get people subscribed to it again, as another backup source. But honestly, what I've been thinking about doing with that one, Jaron, the Globebusters 24/7, is putting on the really long videos, like the entire shows, the full 3.5-hour shows, and just letting those play. And then on your channel, you have a ton of them that are, like long videos and,
right.
Just dumping all of that stuff on there and,
Yeah, so definitely people can also check out Globebusters 24/7. There's only 809 subscribers, but get subscribed in case anything ever happens. You will find us somehow, some way. But I think that's a great idea, Bob. As long as I know it costs money. I know you have to add gigs because you're limited in everything that they do as far as how much bandwidth you can use, right?
Yeah, it cost me about another $50 a month to go to unlimited bandwidth, but and then besides that, you've got the power consumption, which isn't a lot. Maybe $5 a month or something for power consumption, and the servers. I have spare computers sitting around all over the place, so that's not really an issue. But the biggest thing, of course, is the unlimited data that I have to pay for through Comcast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I know I'm limited on how much I can use. But so definitely people check out those 3 channels, subscribe yourself to those 3 channels so that you can catch us no matter when. And for my channel, I've got, the backup is Jeranism Raw for now. I might get another one going, who knows, but definitely subscribe to that one as well.
Yep, there you go.
While you're at it.
Okay, so
back to
you want to get into this predictive programming stuff?
Yes.
Seattle,
the Seattle thing. I've been following that with great interest.
Can I give it a little kind of run from what I could gather from Marty Leeds?
Yeah, absolutely. But one thing I want to show, and Jaron's got this document that's being shared right now.
Yeah,
at least I think Bob. You are, Jaron, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And what this is they're actually crisis actors wanted for a nuclear disaster drill in Seattle, right, on November 2nd through 3rd. Holy cow. I mean, and mind you, people, you got to remember 9/11, supposedly we had drills going on for the exact same things that happened then. Sandy Hook, we supposedly had drills for the exact same thing going on. I think Boston bombing is also the same thing. I mean, in other words, there's kind of a pattern here, guys, right? And it's really strange because astrologically, and there's just all these indicators through the media, Simpsons, etc. And I'll let Rodrigo cover that. But it is unbelievable that the hype and the buildup that's going on around this event. And lo and behold, when I saw this, it's like, oh my God.
But is this real, or did somebody just create this? Because
I don't know.
Yeah, because I see it's on Blogspot and it's crisis actor listings, and there's no link to where I can follow this. But I'd like to hear your opinion of it too, Rodrigo, because for me, it's a very interesting topic. I always go back and forth on it, and I do understand the people who say, "Oh, well, when it doesn't happen, are we just exposing it to the point that it doesn't happen?" But I'm also seeing the side of the story that says, "Well, it's an easy way out of predicting things and them not coming true, right?" Based on this,
some people did predict 9/11 at the time, and some of them ended up dead. But
sure,
let's not forget the Simpsons.
Bill Cooper,
right?
Bill Cooper.
Yeah. No, but I mean, as far as predicting something that's going to happen, that's what that would be the true sign of knowing what's going on and everything. And so, yeah, if something happens on that date, that is going to be crazy. If you ask me, nothing will happen, and then people will say, "Oh, well, nothing happened because we exposed it," which is fine by me.
Not.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I hope nothing happens. So by showing this, exposing it, talking about it, sure, if it means nothing happens, then great. But at the same time, it's the same as me predicting something on November 15th. On November 15th, this is going to happen or this is going to happen, and I'm going to talk about it and expose it. And then when it doesn't happen, I have an out. I can say, oh yeah, it's because I talked about it. It's a little bit of an escape strategy, you know. But go ahead.
Well, you know what?
Rodrigo.
If that works, I'm all for it.
Right. We'll just do it.
Let's get this stuff down.
Let's just do it every day.
Yep.
Every day. So 11/16 something's supposed to happen. Right. Exactly. Go ahead, Rodrigo.
Well, I mean, there's, of course, people who want to know more about how this has made its way through this community. Take a look at Marty Leeds' video. Okay, he goes through the whole thing for 4 hours. So I took a look at that and I took some notes, of course. So this is the event of this football game. It's going to happen at 1:05 p.m. in Seattle, November 3rd, 2019, a Sunday. There's been signs of predictive programming. There's this Bloody Sunday thing, or there's also associated with Seattle. There's, of course, the Dark Knight Rises. The Seattle Stadium gets destroyed. I've been to that stadium. I watched Brazil and Canada.
Yep, and don't forget the U2 song, right? Sunday, Bloody Sunday.
Sunday, but yeah, I mean, of course, it's Sunday. Yeah, I mean, it's.
I know.
How
I'm
many
reaching.
things happen
I'm
Sunday?
reaching.
Of course,
But
right? But
Hey,
what's going on here? Of course, what's
That's
going
the
on
cool
here?
thing. That's the cool thing about the show.
Leeds, yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
I was just
Jared.
gonna say the cool thing about the show is we're allowed to reach here because nobody's saying this is gonna happen.
I mean,
we're just talking.
it's reaching, but this is the thing that Marty Leeds was saying. He's like, I'm reaching. You know, these things are tentative, but take a look. You know, look at just how many of these connections there are. I guess apparently this thing started in 4chan boards. There were some Germans that were connecting the dots. There's lots of Simpsons, and there's this especially discovery of The Economist from years ago. Though that's one of the problems. It has this kind of world football, and it has this 11-3 arrow going to towards the feet of an Alice in Wonderland. People, of course, the idea is that this Economist is owned by people in the elites who are making signals and flashing some of the things they might be doing, right? So there's all these codes, 311 in many places. Now, Marty Leeds, he uses this kind of cipher for English, which is goes from A to M, N to Z in this in those rows that go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 to kind of find out, to use his kind of gematria. And what he's arguing is that NASA and other people, not NASA, but what they're doing with he compared it with ISS and the Dragon and SpaceX, like association with Seth, and that attack Horus is sort of like the Jesus sort of Egyptian type of person that gets attacked and killed and dismembered. And so basically what he's saying is that it is satanic ritual, some sort of, not just what Marty Leeds believes maybe it is. It's more than just for control. It's something else, right? And then he goes through different events, like at the Las Vegas shootings, many numbers there that he connects to all kinds of things, even in the Bible. He's saying that these guys are purposely signaling Jesus into these things as a way to subvert it, I guess. This thing is coming. There's all these other signs. It's coming the 44th week of the year. There's a bunch of predictive programming of Seattle exploding and the stadium and so on. And there's this thing about the turtle. So this turtle appears in a bunch of places that they were pointing to this turtle. This Bart Simpson standing on the turtle. There's also there's an atomic museum in Breaking Bad. And there's Atomic Museum, and then in Breaking Bad, he says, "My name is Tortuga. My name is the turtle as well." There's another Black Sunday film that has a 44th week. 4403 appears in this Black Sunday film that has a Zeppelin that falls into a football game and kills spectators in a football game. There's another one, right? Also,
wasn't the Batman movie, with the what's his name? Didn't the scene where they're running through the football stadium, right? Mm-hmm. And it blows up and it all falls. That's Seattle, right? It's
Seattle. It's the actual stadium. Yes.
Yeah.
And it is that same stadium exactly. And the numbers are significant there because there's a booth 322 that explodes. That has, I guess, a journalist. That 322 booth explodes, but when you look at the stadium itself, it is shaped like a turtle. Okay, you look at the top of this Seattle stadium, it looks exactly like a turtle. And the 322 booth, the kind of special elite booth or whatever, 322 is missing on the stadium.
Whoa.
So
wow.
This is one of the points he makes.
That's
very weird.
And I
also
actually,
the game. Well, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I'm clicking around to some of these links and finding that they are at least what looks to be public sites, and government sites. This is kirklandwa.gov, talking about signing up to be part of these volunteers that will be put into fake wound makeup if they are comfortable with doing so, pretend they have been injured during an earthquake. They'll find, rescue, and treat volunteer survivors. This is just one thing that I'm following. So go ahead and keep talking.
Lots of fun, it says. Volunteers, so lots of fun,
so
and you will be helping your community members prepare for disasters. How they sell it.
Yeah, and this is in Washington. So, yeah, that's one thing. And then I also found, I'll just keep searching, finding some things.
It is quite amazing that there is an industry of this kind of stuff, right? That the actors for this kinds of drills is like an industry, that they're hiring people. It's very odd that even exists. Why should that even exist? Preparedness, I guess, but in a way that's quite odd, because it gets people to get used to these scenarios. Like it's just weird. But back to this Black Sunday film. So this Zeppelin kills people, right? So we have the Batman film where the stadium explodes from under as the players are running. And then the 322 booth in the Batman film explodes. The stadium itself is shaped like a turtle, and there's all these things about the turtle and breaking
the 322 or the 311, Rodrigo? 322 is the Skull and Bones.
It is. Yeah, that's it. 322. Skull and Bones.
Okay, because I was thinking 311, of course, you transpose that, you have 11.3. So,
right.
And 311 is another big, occult number as well.
Mm-hmm. Right, so. Yes, I mean, you can make a relation between the 322 and the 311 as well. But in the Batman movie, the booth that explodes is 322, so pointing to Skull and Bones. But of course, the Buccaneers, their symbol is a Skull and Bones, so they're going to be playing on November 3rd with the Seattle Seahawks, whose nickname is the Legion of Boom, boom, as in an explosion.
Wow.
So that's all that there. And what else? There's this whole thing about Wizard of Oz and the Emerald City, nuclear attack, false flags, all kinds of stuff. There's one film in particular, I think, is War Games film. That's from the 80s. You probably remember this, Bob.
Oh, yeah.
That was pretty big
Shall
at the
we
time.
play a game? How about geothermonuclear war? Yes.
Yeah. So that film apparently is all about 311, I think. Like there's 311 is like a key thing in it, so they repeat it like a dozen times in it. So if you watch the Marty Leeds thing, he goes through in detail, and then he shows some compilations of predictive programming about exploding the towers as well in New York, and in many cartoons. It's like it seems like not just these very big cartoons like Simpsons but these kind of outlying cartoons, like with evil monsters and all. They seem to go, they like football stadiums in the Seattle Tower and the World Trade Center. Yeah. So I don't know. It does have a lot of things pointing to it. If it happens, I think that people can actually spot this false flag and actually predict this, because they know so much about these other events. So there's like New York and Vegas, and there's this Boston event. There's a Sandy Hook event. So there's so many events. Maybe people are studying this to the point where they can actually predict when something is coming, which might be where we're at. But who knows? Maybe it's just a way to signal, hopefully for the best here, that nothing happens, that they're just trying to gauge for how much attention they can direct to one place or another. Because we know that part of the political game is when, and the marketing game and the PR game is when somebody is being attacked and their credibility is low, you come up with a kind of response that bumps it into the other direction. Right. So,
and there's always, also, they've got to keep us in fear. And granted, maybe we're not helping right now do that, but I also think that a level of awareness, and we're not saying, go out and run naked in the streets and, all this crazy stuff. But I mean, it's just, when things like this happen and there is so many things that the media itself, it seems to be focusing on events like this. And historically, like I said, I've mentioned The Simpsons before. When you see the media do this and so many other little things, like it shows up in the commercials, or, certain numbers always show up in press or in media. All of this stuff, it's really weird and kind of or like, remember the Lone Gunman show, right? When that was just an outright prediction of what was going to happen on 9/11. So for whatever reason, and I said this before, these guys seem to have to tell us what they're doing in one form or another. And, they do it in such a way that, it always comes back to a plausible deniability, right? But
well, I don't know. It's like when you think about it, Bob, like when you know about film production, how meticulous they are about every single thing that must appear, it may not appear. There's an art director that looks at every single thing that appears on the screen. It's all meticulously designed. Like, they have so much money to do this. You see the size of the collaborations they have in Hollywood. The credits at the end, if you watch for that, just look. There's how many people are doing this stuff, right? So for me, when you look at Back to the Future, and you see what's going on there. I mean, like, there's this guy at the same time connecting this electric charge through a timed event that has to do with a clock, that has to do with the prediction of a lightning coming, and he needs to connect it. He connects it at that moment. This car flies into a movie theater and disappears in the movie theater with a track that has the 11, and then you have the 9 that comes into view, plus the Twin Peaks parking lot with the 9/11 inverted. I mean, and this is what boggles the mind about this stuff, because it's been put there deliberately. But the thing is, who is telling who to do what? Because you can easily get, it's not like the producers or George Lucas or anybody. All you need is like somebody from the intelligence agency in their place to push certain things somehow. But these tiny details, somebody's in the know, preparing these things so far ahead. What is it, 85 to 2001?
Yeah. Somebody, and I can't remember the flat earther, a well-known one, and it escapes me right now, but they did a complete series on Back to the Future Decoded. If somebody knows the answer to who that is, post it in the chat. But if you guys aren't familiar with that, that's pretty fascinating.
Yeah, I think there's one guy who did a terrific job, like went through all the details. But because the one thing that's incredible in Back to the Future 2, oh my goodness, this one is even worse, because there's the father of the main character. He has a neck problem, so he's hanging upside down.
Right, I've seen that part, yeah.
They walk into a building. They see the towers are literally coming down from his perspective, with the Statue of Liberty right there, and he's watching those towers go down on TV. Right? How do you synchronize that? How do you do that trick? Why do you do the inversion?
Right.
Why the inversions is one of the things. It's kind of like, it's a sign that we know what it is. It's something evil. and it's put into some of these shows that they're fun to watch. I mean, you can't deny it.
Yep. Oh, and by the way, that was Scrawny to Brawny.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Yep. And thank you, Dire Straits, for that information. So yeah, Scrawny to Brawny did an amazing series on that. So if you haven't seen it, check it out, because again, this is just another example of the things that they encode. And, one of the things obviously that I remember so well about that was, the opening scene where, Marty comes in and he hooks up the guitar and turns up everything full blast, hits that one chord and it blows a hole in the speaker that looks just like Antarctica. It's like, wow, that's bizarre. That's predictive programming, subliminal type stuff.
Yeah, it's like there's a lot of thinking going behind this stuff. That's the thing. That's the one thing that it's like what you're saying. Of course, there's a deniable plausibility or something like that, right? You're saying plausible deniability. Sorry, plausible deniability. Mm-hmm. But when you know how Hollywood works and the productions work, there's just no way these people have not deliberately thought it over and over and over again and to insert it in the right moment. Like if you look at The Shining, when you play it backwards and forwards at the same time, have you seen that? What happens from the room 237 of the film, the documentary?
When you play the documentary backwards?
I have never seen that yet. I'm sorry, Jaron, go ahead.
I was just asking when you play the documentary backwards, or you mean you play the actual Shining?
Well, what some people discovered is that for some reason, they decided to just try that out. I don't know how they figured that out, but they projected in a movie screen 2 versions of The Shining at the same time, starting from the beginning, one starting from the end, and projected them together at the same time. The whole thing tells another story. Like it's really creepy, man. You have to see it. How this guy meticulously cut this film in half and mirrored it from backwards to forward, the entire editing process, so that things align in a way that's just like, what the hell is going on here? Like the names align from the beginning to the end. There's this crazy scene where Jack, when you can even try to do that in your computer. You get the 2 copies, reverse one, get one to be half the opacity on top, and then you get this effect. You get these scenes that show the 2 dead girls and the face of Jack, and he looks like a clown with the blood in his eyes and the blood coming out of his mouth. It's just the most creepy. It's deliberate. There's these other scenes where Jack is talking to the caretaker in the bathroom, and at the same time, the counter scene is the boy hearing the spirit and having these questionings, and that whole thing it's orchestrated to be together. Like there, it's like beyond what we expect in terms of design for this thing. Like too much thought was put into this thing.
That's crazy. Where can you see that, Rodrigo?
Yeah, same question.
The film Room 237, the documentary that's well known, that goes through a number of different theories regarding The Shining. One of them being the front screen projection, the one that we know is more likely to be true, which is Jay Widener's theory, right? Well, he's the first person to look at The Shining, I think. And that actually kind of uncovered these things, a bunch of different details. So the meeting with the person that sells, it gives him the opportunity to go into, it gives him the job, right? That is his deal with the United States. It's all set up. The guy has the eagle. The guy's he's dressing, he looks like John Fitzgerald Kennedy. Like the whole thing is packed with symbolism.
So room 237 is the one that actually dissects and runs forward and backward?
I don't remember that.
Well, no. What happens is like this. Room 237, because it's just a compilation of different theories.
Right.
It spotlights different theories. And one of the theories that it spotlights for maybe 15 minutes is this one that puts the film backward and forward at the same time. So you can see a little bit there. And from there, you can follow into, maybe the guy made a presentation about this. But it's a guy talking. What you see in Room 237 is this guy talking about it and then showing some of these superimposed backward and forward matched mirrored
That's
scenes.
crazy because people could tear that up to, I mean, you could do that with any of Kubrick's videos, and I just don't remember seeing that as part of Room 237. You're basically saying take the video and play it correctly one way, then take the video, overlay it, play it backwards. But how would you know? How would you know where to start it? How would you know where to start it if you're playing it backwards, like the end of the last scene, the end of the credits?
Well,
what do you know?
This is the thing. No, the credits are included. So the credits are very important. I don't know. They managed. There's some things that happen where the name of Jack Nicholson, his face from the back for the credits, and the picture like aligned with the car, and the coming like is the coming when they're going. It's insane because when they're going into the hotel, the invitation comes up. Like it's just amazing. You have to see just how synchronized this thing is. I think it is the very beginning of the film with the very end of the film at the end of the credits. Okay. That's my guess. So
Jaron, I'm posting something in the chat right now. Yeah, that's amazing. Jennifer Spangler says, search the web for shining forwards and backwards. And so I did that, and there's a crap ton of them. And I just popped one in there that talks about this. So thank you, Jennifer.
Yeah, thanks a lot for that. I definitely will be looking into this.
No doubt.
People. I mean, I bet people are going crazy with this because it is quite like holy crap. Like it really opens up this kind of meticulous nature of this guy Kubrick, but to a level that's like you can, if you watch this and you think this is not on purpose and it's just coincidence. I mean, it's hard to believe that will be just coincidence. The way things align and are aligned, and you can imagine that if they're cutting things, they understand exactly how many seconds each scene has. In the film process, whenever they're putting a film together, they're not improvising at any moment. Like everything is storyline. You have every single take of the camera is drawn as a cartoon, and so you know exactly what it is. And you imagine that he was probably taking an account. He was doing the numbers for how many seconds he had for each scene or what happens at each moment. And in the editing room, they were probably starting maybe even from the middle of the film or something. You can imagine that they organize a process to get this done, which is phenomenal.
That's crazy. You know, it kind of reminds me of, and a lot of people, and I think even Jaron had his doubts about this, but there was one thing that I covered on the Canadian conference, and it was a video that had just come out. A few people covered it, but it was one of the Earth pictures, right? The big blue marble pictures or whatever, one of the later ones.
Oh, the fold one.
Yeah, the fold one, you know, where you know, remember, the whole motto is like reverse it, make it backwards, invert it, turn it upside down, whatever. Well, in this one globe picture, the guy folded it in two and then flipped it upside down. And when he did that, what you got out of it was
like a devil face.
Absolutely unbelievable. And I mean, the symmetry, everything about it, you know, you could see there was so much detail in it. I mean, there is no way that it was a coincidence. And this, you know, they do stuff like this. This is really, you know, I think a lot of the ways that they, you know, encode a lot of the information. And I remember even when I was growing up in the 60s and 70s, you know, a big thing then was, oh, we'll play such and such, play Black Sabbath albums backwards or Led Zeppelin backwards, Stairway to Heaven or whatever, and you could hear all this weird stuff. And yet, lo and behold, you actually could. Now, whether or not that was a coincidence, I don't know. Or Obama's speech, where what was his big tagline? Yes, we can, right? And you play it backwards, and it's "Thank you, Satan. Thank you, Satan."
Right.
Weird stuff like that.
That's
man.
weird. Oh, this is one of the scenes. This is one of the really crazy scenes here. And later on, that there's look at that, how that's positioned. Come on, it's odd. And there's some other ones. They're even more bizarre. Like the one I was saying with Jack's face.
If people want to find the best way to check it out, I'll include this in the show notes. This No Film School. But when you go down here, it looks like the video is taken down, and then here's an update to the syncbook.com. Click that; it'll take you here, and then it's got the whole movie done for you. Boom, it's already done.
That's interesting. The Room 237 would be interesting to see, Bob, because it does take you straight to the some of the coolest points. But look at that; it's all really thought that even before it was filmed. It's very odd. But as you're saying, Bob, yes, the tricking with mirrors. There's something about inversions, mirrors, and these subliminal messages that they're doing, that they believe that they can do that. Right, and they probably have some sort of technique that they use, and probably comes from these kind of MK Ultra studies, that they so-called studies, or they're kind of whatever findings they have from that they can just kind of try to roll in on people in different ways, right?
Incredible.
Yeah, amazing. Wow. So I don't know how we went from November 3rd to this, but
we did.
Yikes.
We did it. And there's a full playlist here that David sent about Back to the Future, so I'll include that as well. Including that playlist in there.
Right, in the Scrawny, Scrawny to Brawny. Yep.
The 9/11 Twin Pines.
Yeah, so I'll include that. And I already have the sync book, so we'll include that. pretty crazy stuff. I do have a question for you, Rodrigo, as far as what's your opinion on Mandela effect?
No, I think it's probably, I just saw, you saw that the Keith was posting some of that stuff. And when I look, it was like that contact in the desert thing. And some guy was talking about it. And it seems to be just kind of, I think is a CIA psyop kind of thing. Just trying to claim that they can change the past for people, depending what it seems to be. And it just kind of dealing with people people who have trouble remembering some things or mess up some details, and they say, oh, this is a big sign that this and that's happening. Like, yeah, all right. I still go back to Keith was trying to tell me that the past is changing. And I was saying, I can still go back to my pictures from 10 years ago, and they're still the same. It's like,
right. I'm kind of in the same boat, although I do think it is a cleverly planned psyop, because once people realize that a lot of it has to do with just the memory of people, and then they kind of back away from it, then when they start scrubbing the internet, changing articles, doing things like that, then when somebody like me brings it up, the answer will be, well, Jaron, you said that it all is just people forgetting or people's bad memory. And again, you have to have kind of some maybe personal attachment to some of these things. Like my wife used to watch, what was it? I was going to say Sleepless in Seattle. Sex in the City. Sex and the City, right? So, yeah, when I heard that whole, Mandela effect, it's actually sex in the city, and then they change it.
But you know what? That kind of thing, you can see is a typical linguistic phenomenon that you see everywhere.
Right.
People, they hear one thing and they don't care what is actually written. They'll just say something. Yeah, it sounds like sex and the city, sex in the city. If you say that, people are going to understand. So suddenly it becomes sex in the city, even though it might be sex and the city or whatever it is.
Yeah, somebody
sounds
like
so similar,
me,
it doesn't matter.
Right. Somebody like me who had never seen the show, when I hear somebody talking about it, it's gonna come out to me as Sex in the City, because Sex and the City doesn't make any sense to me, so I'm just gonna pass it off. But for my wife, who watched the show, said no. The show. When I told her that, she was like, "What are you talking about? It's Sex and the City." I said, "Oh, I've always thought it was Sex in the City." She said, "No, it's about a girl who writes a column in a newspaper, and the name of the column is Sex and the City." She's from New York.
But you're not familiar with the show.
I'm not familiar with the show, right? So I think
that's
all
why
of them
they catch this kind of common mistakes that people might make just because it sounds one way or another, and then they say, "Oh, it's very significant."
But Rodrigo,
the
Dolly had braces. That's the one that really got me, man. There is no way. I mean, and what's really funny is
that the sheep, the clone sheep?
No. Dolly is the girl in the James Bond movie Moonraker, and there's a scene where Jaws, the big, really huge guy with the teeth that are all covered in metal, and there's this one scene where he's like lifting up this big heavy thing, and she helps him, and then he stops and he takes a look at her, and he smiles, and then she looks at him and she smiles back, and in that scene, the whole thing is about both of them having metal mouths, right? I mean, she had braces, and now she doesn't have it, right? And I remember that as clear as day, and so do so many other people. And
the thing is, like,
just,
you have to go back.
There.
You have to go find a VHS from the time.
But the Mandela effect is actually the belief that they've been able to go back and change the VHSs.
I know. Which, frankly, in my opinion, gives credence to this whole idea of a possible simulation theory. And I'm not saying it is, but I'm just saying you think about stuff like that, and it's like, well, if we are in some sort of a programmed, reality, that would be something that's possible. But it's just bizarre.
It sounds like something they programmed. Like it's coming straight out of this pop kind of. When you think about these little tidbits or trivia, they have absolutely no real significance. In a way, they're just kind of stories inside a fake fictional world. Who cares if Jaws is this or that? Like, for instance, of course, it is interesting, but I'm saying, it shows us how our minds are in that game, and how if they be in control of that game, they can do all kinds of things. Even if they cannot go back and edit all the tapes. For instance, even in that case, say that somebody did a spoof that became famous that showed the braces or something, or it came out in some TV show or TV commercial or something. I don't know how people got that idea. It's not part of my cultural kind of background. The things I remember. Yeah.
Well, Rodrigo, I I was extremely skeptical of it, at first also. But I mean, the sheer volume of these so-called Mandela effects is amazing. And yeah, some of them could be, well, you just got a shitty memory. And I thought that myself. Like, okay,
I can show you children in Brazil that you give them a tomato and you say, what is this? They don't know the name of it. Or they look at, you give them a cabbage, they don't know what it is.
But that's different than an absolute recollection of something. I mean, even supposedly Bible verses have been changed. I mean, it's not, in other words, what I'm saying is whatever it is, it's not a small phenomenon. It's huge. And, you have to really sit there and wonder about it. And it is bizarre. Brian Stavely is one of the most up-to-date people on this phenomenon all the time.
I haven't heard very strong, I haven't heard anything that I couldn't say, okay, there's problems with this so far.
Yeah, me neither.
But you're saying keep going.
Yeah, I was going to say, Jaron, did you ever, when you were growing up, did you ever go out, in your teenage years and get drunk on Mad Dog 2020?
No, not Mad Dog 2020. What's that?
But you don't remember Mad Dog 2020? Well, that was
a big beer kind of thing, one of those gangsta
It was like
beers.
a wine, right? And apparently, and everybody talks about, Mad Dog 2020 gives you the worst hangovers and all this stuff. I remember it absolutely from my high school years and all this stuff. And now it's not Mad Dog 2020 anymore. It's Mogan David. It's like, what? He said that, and I looked it up. I was like, oh, my God. I mean, just stuff like that. It is so unbelievably widespread that, it just continually blows my mind. And I don't know what to think of it. But, it's gotten so big, and there's so many incidents of it, Rodrigo. I'm really wondering. I really am,
Yeah, I know that people give nicknames to things, and there's some things that I call in my daily life. I use the word that's not the word. It's like me and Luisa understand it, but I made it up. Right. There's a number of things I totally made up, and we use that word instead of the regular word. I always used to do this as a child. We came up with a bunch of terms, and some things can, I don't know. I mean, something like that particular one. It could have taken that nickname of Mad Dog because it made some people go on Mad Dog, and then people just see the MD. They're drunk, of course. They're not going to remember. Give me a Mad Dog. It became a Mad Dog, maybe. And they don't care what's written. They see MD. They think Mad Dog.
Let me remind everybody listening too. None of us are telling you what to believe. Just so you know that.
Yes.
We're just talking about weird shit. Right. And we're just telling you what we believe.
I have no idea. This one,
For me, Mandela, at the beginning, I was very interested in it. I followed up on some things, looked into some things, and I'm in the belief, I think, like Rodrigo is, I don't think they can change the past. I don't think there's any kind of simulation going on to where they can adjust it. But that being said, if there was a simulation that they could adjust, there'd be no way we could ever prove it. So right. I mean, we'd be in kind of a crapshoot.
But they can change history, and they talked about in 1984, right? We know that they might try to do things like that. They will.
Well, they've already done that. They can already. They can. I mean, that's one thing that they can do, right? So they can't really go back and change a bunch of VHS videos or something. But if there's an article on the internet, if there's something that they released at some point, they can scrub the internet of that article or any article linking to it. They can definitely do that. That for sure they can do. So what I'm afraid of is that by me saying here, oh no, it's all our memories, or you saying, Rodrigo, that it maybe his nicknames or whatever, we say that, we get that into minds, people then think, oh, it is just our memory. And then a couple years later when they scrub the internet and we say, oh no, this used to say this, they're going to say, oh no, it's just your memory. That's how you remember it. So, I mean, right? So then you're like,
there's another catch. That's a really good one as well. Who knows?
Yeah. And the other thing is there's a lot of other references that are written, supposedly, I think one of them had something to do with Ed McMahon and the Publishers Clearinghouse.
Now that one's weird to me because that one I do see. Those are,
right?
But those are where I just chalk it up to, well, I must have remembered incorrectly.
Yeah, but Jaron, there are other things. There's skits on Saturday Night Live. There are other shows that reference just that thing, right?
Well, I'd have
but
to
it's
see
not
that.
the same anymore.
I'd have to see that because I thought, yeah, you're right.
What is this? What is this thing you're talking about?
Well, because I grew up thinking that Ed McMahon was part of the Publishers Clearinghouse, or that's, when people mention it now, he wasn't part of that. He was part of another thing, right? It was called something else.
Apparently, yeah.
Yeah. And so they say he was never part of Publishers Clearinghouse. Well, when you go back and look, it doesn't appear that he was. It's just he gets out, he tells people, "Oh, here's this check. You're gonna win this money." It was called something else, and I don't remember the name of it. But I think as time goes on, all of us see the Publishers Clearinghouse commercials now because that one took over. That's kind of the only one that they deliver a check to your door, and our minds play it back, and then we associate Ed McMahon with that, and then you realize he was never part of that. He was part of another organization that gave away money.
Do you know one thing that happens here in Holland, for instance, that I think it might be slightly related to this, is that you go to any place, doesn't matter where you go, if you want a sparkling water, you say one brand, right? The name for sparkling water, they say Spa Hot. Spa is a brand. Hot is the one that is red. If it looks red, then it's sparkling. So most of the brands of water they have, if it's red, it means it's sparkling water. But when you go ask for sparkling water in any restaurant, you don't say, "Give me a sparkling water." You can say Spa Hot. Give me a Spa Hot. They'll bring you a different brand. They're not going to give you a Spa brand. They give you Spa became the synonymous for all sparkling water.
Sure, and that's we have an analog to that here also. I mean, when I was growing up, whenever you wanted a soda, right? Let's go get a Coke, right? Everything was a Coke. And, that's here in the northern part of the country, and then down in the southern part of the country, or other places, they call it soda, or they will have their own distinct names for things.
Something like
that? Pop.
Yeah, Pop. Pop is another one. Yep, soda or Pop. So, I mean, that's more of a regional type of thing. But yeah, there are things that, for example, a Kleenex, right? Right. I sneezed. Can you give me a Kleenex? Well, there's obviously lots of different tissues.
Right. Yeah.
So, yeah, I get that.
Yeah, there's a name for that where the kind of brand takes up the thing, becomes a thing itself.
Here's what I would tell people, and I think it's based on what Rodrigo said that made me think about it when you're talking about, well, what's important, right? Is what is being changed is important. Because if they take you back and they say, oh, Fruit Loops used to be spelled this way and now it's spelled this way, and you're like, okay, but there's nothing important there. It's just like it's not important whether Ed McMahon ever worked for Publisher's House. So I would just warn people, be very careful when it is something important, right? That's when you really should pay attention.
We need Brian Staveley on a show. We should ask him maybe next Friday or something to come on, because I mean,
sure,
there are so many of them, Jaron, and this guy,
a ton.
He's got them all, and it's like, wow.
I even went back and watched old VHSs because I couldn't believe certain things, but I still don't. I don't have the. And again, we're not telling you listeners what to believe. It's just what we believe. Like, for instance, I don't think that there's any kind of simulation going on that they can change VHS tapes that have been in my house for tons of years. So I have the VHS of Field of Dreams. When somebody said, oh, they actually said, if you build it, he will come. I said, no, it's if you build it, they will come. And then somebody said, no, you're hearing it wrong. So I went back and watched the VHS, and sure enough, I was wrong. So
yeah, and it's not that I believe it either, Jaron, necessarily, but to me, it raises a distinct possibility, that it is possible that something like that could happen. And the thought of it's intriguing.
It is intriguing, especially if you get into the fact of, well, could it be a simulation? Well, then me going back and checking my VHS proves nothing.
Right.
Yeah, but one thing, people's memories are such that you can go, and I think they did actually, it was InfoWars years ago. No, it was not. It was some guy on the internet that they talked about. But this guy would go on the street in California, on the beach, in front of the water, and talk to people, and he would get them to sign a petition to ban, carbon dioxide, or no, not carbon dioxide, salt.
Yeah, Mark Dice does a lot of stuff like that. Huh? Mark Dice does a lot of videos like that, where he'll go and, ask people what they think of John Kennedy, what he's doing nowadays, or whatever. People forget that he died, or it's great.
Right, exactly, that kind of stuff. There's tons of that going on that people have no idea. You think people are going to remember every little thing? Barely. So many things are getting bombarded with in the media. Plus, the education system sucks. Like you just have to repeat stuff. How much people really dig into stuff, and how much can they really retain? Sometimes I see even people in my family, they don't remember what's happening with me, or they have so many things to do, they can barely keep track of what's going on. Imagine keeping track of all these little trivia things. But what I think it smells, for me, why it smells of kind of CIA stuff, control, because it's in that Contact in the Desert. There was a guy talking about it, and I think that whole Contact in the Desert stuff, all of that stuff is, David Wilcock and Richard Hoagland and Stephen Greer and all these people that we know are sketchy. Something is wrong.
Oh, you don't believe in the mini alien?
The mini alien? No,
it's a mini Beelu.
Sure. Mike Wilkerson, Stellium 7, he knows one guy who was in that film, in the Alien film, and that guy regrets being in it because he knows it is a deception. So he told me this story. Some guy who was from a university that pretends to be there helping to analyze that being that Stephen Greer got, the mini being. Mm-hmm. So it was a setup. That whole thing is a setup. And this guy was ashamed of having participated in it. That's what Mike told me.
Interesting.
So the whole Stephen Greer thing. He claims that he talks to Rockefeller, right? It's like he goes and talks to Rockefeller. He brags about it, Stephen Greer. Like, how are you even gonna?
Fantastic, yeah. Well, Bob, I'd be interested in having that other guy on, whatever, if it's Glowbusters or here, just to hear him talk. Because again, I'm open to anything. I certainly am not saying, I'm completely closed off to that. But as far as what I believe, no, I don't believe that they can change. I don't want to give them that power. I don't want to give the elite the power that, hey, this is all a simulation.
But Bob, what is the actual point that they're making, Bob? Like, what is the thing? What they say? Okay, Mandela effect. So what? What's going on?
Well,
what is it?
That's just it. I don't think anybody's trying to make a point out of it. It's just, there's becoming such this huge collection of things that people distinctly remember, and I mean not just a few people, but massive amounts of people.
So
like
you're saying
Bible passages.
You are saying you identify with this, like that you have been confronted with a bunch of these things, right?
Yes.
So for you, like, I remember it this way, but then it isn't.
Yeah. Right? And like I said, it's affecting an enormous amount of people. And that's the really interesting thing about it. It's like, wow, are people? What is it that would cause these memory engrams, if you will, to be changed to something so distinctly different?
It must be like socially done, or through commercials, or through TV. I mean, I don't remember what the one is for Star Wars. Whether Luke, I am your father. What's the actual one?
Oh, Luke, I am your father versus no, I am your father, or C-3PO having a silver leg. Right. It's like, whoa, where'd that come from, right?
Right. So I wonder
if had black gloves or something as well. They're saying.
There's a whole bunch of them. It's that's what I'm saying. There's so damn many of them.
Right.
It just blows your mind, So, and of course, I know people are walking around half asleep most of the time anyway, and they are. I mean, there's just no doubt about that. But it's amazing that even though they're walking around half asleep, that there seem to be these such absolutely clear and distinct memories about things that apparently are just wrong, right? So I don't know.
But did Mike Tyson bite off the ear from what's his name?
Holyfield.
Did that happen?
That's what I remember.
Yeah.
But did it happen?
I thought if that didn't happen, then you got a point with me, because I remember that one that he bit the ear off and spit it out.
Who's saying that didn't happen?
Part of the ear.
That happened for sure. Who's saying that didn't happen though?
No, I don't know. I don't know. I'm saying if they come out to me and say, hey, that didn't happen, and show me the fight, and saying that, because I saw that happen, I thought, for sure it happened. You could see, Holyfield a piece of the ear out right there, and they made a big deal out of it. So, once, for instance, if Brazil did not win the 1970 World Cup, then you got a Mandela effect. If Pelé did not go and score,
right.
Yeah. If the United States suddenly won, soccer World Cups, then you got a point, because I don't remember that happening. And I remember Brazil doing it 5 times, and 1970, that is with Pelé. Pelé is real. I think he's real. If you show me Pelé is not real,
he's real.
So that's the kind of thing I want to see, because I know. I saw Pelé score all these scores and whatever. That's, impressed in my head, whatever. If they try to show me it didn't happen, then I'll be like, oh my God, this is a simulation.
Well,
but until then.
Well, that's kind of what I was going to say. That's kind of what I mean by finding things that are important, or things like that. I'm not saying that, winning a soccer match is important, but what I'm saying is these big kind of events and, things that happen live or something like that. I don't think there's anything they can change about that. Now, a movie or anything like that, again, I'm in the same boat. I don't think they can change the past at all, but I think our memories are constantly changing every single day, whether it's a barragement of stuff from TV or movies or friends or social circles or social media. I think we can get convinced of things that are not true. But what I do warn people is be careful.
One of the examples that's very clear from the history that we know, from the history of court cases, right, and witness testimonies, you just see just how much people don't exactly remember details, right? That's really well documented how some stories may shift some eyewitness but it really depends, because some people might be really good at it, some people might not.
See, that's
you
the
have
hard
that
thing.
guy.
You don't want to start telling people that eyewitness testimony is terrible, even though most times it is, right? But if you start convincing people of that, then you've got issues.
Here's a good one for you guys, and this absolutely blew me right out the door. Thank you, Go Vegan Ursa Plane. There was one that I don't know if you guys remember this or not, but did you know that the Scarecrow in Wizard of Oz had a gun
on his around his waist?
You're aware of that?
Yeah.
I had never seen that before. Jaron, you?
It doesn't ring a bell right now. I wouldn't picture the Scarecrow with a gun. Why would he have a gun?
I don't know, but he does.
Yeah, it was part of his kind of prop, right?
Yeah, Jaren's going to look it up right now. I mean, and again, does it mean anything? I don't know, but man, that is just weird as shit. That all of a sudden now it's Scarecrow's got a gun.
But you can pick up on, you can. I remember when I really liked to watch movies and watch them for a second time, so that would be trying to see how the production was put together. So I'd be looking at the things in the background that are not on focus, right? And that would be, but then in a second viewing or a third viewing or fourth viewing, sometimes you see a little bit more, depending if the movie is good or whatnot. You're gonna miss so many details. The regular person who is not even, because I remember getting more into film production, you start to kind of understand aspects of the production that when I took it in college, that kind of it breaks the spell a little bit, and you kind of start paying attention in lighting and how everything's being lit, and you can become kind of pain in the ass and say, this is badly lit and they should have done it this and that way, kind of you get this other kind of thing that messes up with your suspension of judgment when you're watching it. So most people that don't even get to this point, because they're really just trying to take it in, and they're paying attention to what's being said, and they're really not picking up things in the background. So you can go mining these old films, and say, did you remember that there's this detail that, this kind of belt from such and such a character shows this and that? And people are going to say, no, he didn't even have a belt. And they're like, here it is. You can just go to Conan the Barbarian, and Grace Jones is there. What's in her hair? Do you remember? Did she had a feather in her hair? Well, if you don't remember, or if you do, if now you say it's a kind of suggestion, I can convince you that Grace Jones had a red mesh in her hair, and that she had a feather in her hair, right? Yeah. And then we go there, and it's not there, and you're like, oh my God, I really remember. I had a friend in Shetland that he could convince people that they had been in parties in places that they had not gone. And he would come back to me and say, I could just do this to people sometimes. I can say, remember that day when you did this and you did that and blah, blah, blah. Suddenly the person's like, yeah, I remember. And it never happened.
I know, Rodrigo, totally. And you know what? You're being very sensible about this and explaining and everything. And you're right. I mean, it is amazing, the power of suggestion for people. One of the people that I talked about several times is a guy named Darren Brown, right? He did a series called Mind Control with Darren Brown. And
I remember that. Yeah,
the one that you sent me, the one that with the girl that kills the cat that you sent me.
Yeah, that one. That's one. Or there's another one where he sits a bunch of kindergartners down, or preschool or whatever, down in a classroom, and sits them around a table with a big finger paint thing, and he has the teacher read this nonsensical story, right? And in the meantime, the kids are just playing with the paint, and they're putting their hands, and they're making a big mess on this thing. But he tells the teacher, he goes, okay, while you're reading the story, I want you to think of something that comes to your mind, right? And so she's reading the story, and it's absolutely nonsensical, right? And so she goes, okay. He goes, well, what'd you think of? And she goes, well, a teddy bear, right? And he draws it out, and he goes like, yeah, he knew he was going to say that. And then they pull back on the camera on this big, huge, 4 foot by 3 foot canvas that the kids are finger painting on, and it is a great, big, huge, giant teddy bear, right? And it's like, whoa, how did he do that? So then he shows the text, right? Now the kids never saw this, but in the text of this nonsensical thing that she was reading, if you looked at it, down the left side, it's spelled Teddybbear. Down the right side, it's Teddybbear. Then it did it crossways, and then backwards crossways, and then across the middle, and backwards across the middle. So they had all these things, and it's like, wait a minute, how is the mind working holographically, right? For the kids to pick up on that somehow subconsciously.
Without even thinking.
Right. Yeah. I mean, whoa!
Because they're not trying to do it.
Huh?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I said because they're not trying to do it. Which is impressive.
Well, supposedly, right? Unless it is the whole thing is concocted. I saw something that's very similar to what you're saying, where he gets a bunch of people. Not sure that's the same guy, but this guy gets a bunch of people to draw these things about songs that they're thinking about or something, and then when he gets all their drawings, it spells out Stevie Wonder. It's really weird. Just like what they were thinking. They were thinking about Stevie Wonder's song somehow.
Right. Or another thing he does is like he'll walk up to people on the streets, just total strangers, and just say, make certain confirming phrases like, and then can you give me your wallet? No, these people will just hand him shit. Right. Or he walks into a jewelry store, right, and he'll hand people, blank pieces of paper and money, right? And it's fine. And all of it is in his dialogue that he's reinforcing with his actions, right?
So wait a second, he gives them paper and they think it's money?
Yeah, they think it's money. He actually bought a diamond ring with it. And this is something that has been repeated over and over and over. And it just goes to show you how incredibly susceptible we are to the power of suggestion. And advertising agencies know this, right?
Oh, yeah.
And, I mean, you go into a mall, everything about it is purchase, the whole 9 yards. So, I mean, what I'm saying is that the human mind is this very delicate thing that is easily manipulated. And if you don't believe that, just take a look at today's society, right? What are we fighting against?
Absolutely. It's totally malleable.
Right.
You can conform it to anything. And I've seen that same thing, Bob, where I've seen somebody get out of a ticket by purposely running a stop sign over and over again until they got caught. And then when they get pulled over, just in the words that they use, they say, "Oh, good day, officer. Hey, I was trying to get to this location. Is it to the right, to the left?" And the officer he's trying to talk to him. And he goes, "Yeah, but I understand, And then eventually the officer gives him directions to where he's going and lets him leave. And the guy was supposed to get a ticket. So we had Blake Britton send us a super chat. He says, "Who is Bilu and what is it?" I hear Jaron make fun of it sometimes. I'm spelling it wrong probably. Bilu or Bilu? It's actually spelled B-I-L-U. Bob, who is Bilu?
Okay, Bilu is there was a group of flat earthers that was called, I believe, the Convex Earth Group.
Convex.
Yeah, Convex Earth Group. And their leader, they were actually out there doing a bunch of research, and we talked about them and covered them and everything.
We had them on the
I
show.
thought, well, maybe their experiments are pretty cool. But then we come to find out that the leader of this group, and I don't remember his name.
Rodrigo, I think. Wasn't it Rodrigo? Maybe it's not.
Jeranism. He's a Brazilian guy, right?
Yeah, Brazilian.
Yeah,
It's all Rodrigo. That's all. His name spells out UFO.
Oh, that's right.
What it is a scam. It's a touristic scam. This guy went to an area, bought an area, built these cheap kind of igloos, and said that the aliens are coming there. And then he started a scheme. They make millions and millions a year, and it's tourism where people come, they buy these packages, and they get to go and see Bilu, which is a character that they have out in the
Bob, didn't we have him? Didn't we have them on Globebusters?
Yeah, we didn't have them on Globe. We were going to, and then
that's right.
When we kind of disavowed it, they were pissed off.
Because you and I did a show right before we were going to do. I'm starting to remember this. Yeah, you and I did a show before we were supposed to have them on, just to warn everybody. Hey, this Bilu character, we're going to find out. Well, they heard that and then they bailed. They didn't want anything to do with us questioning them about Bilu. But yeah, that's
right.
Bilu
They did come
Bilu's
out. They got
alien.
pissed off that people. rejected their Bilu thing. And I talked to a lot of more Brazilians that they know about the story. There's the Bilu AT that shows up in Flat Earth forums and makes comments and stuff. And the whole thing is just it's a scam for tourism with a bunch of whacks that somehow they managed to even get people to believe they actually saw the Bilu thing. He claims he's from under the earth, there's some other something they claim that he gives them a tablet that they eat and that it has the taste that they choose to want. So if you want it to taste like tomato, it tastes like tomato. Or something like that.
Rodrigo, was it you or was it Iru? I think it was Iru that actually came on, and he said he was talking to somebody in Amsterdam or something like that, and he was saying, no, I met this guy, and he actually 100% believes that he's had these conversations with
this
people.
This is Ben. This is Ben when he was in Romania.
Oh, that's right. It was Ben. It was Ben.
I thought it was Iru.
Yeah, no, it was Ben. That's right.
Well, what I did back in the day when the controversy first came out of Bilu, I went and I started looking in the Brazilian language, what has been said. And then I did find a documentary that was from the people that actually believe Bilu. And it was weird because they could get just a bunch of people who actually believed Bilu. So I think that's what Ben encountered in Romania. So there's a whole bunch of them. And there's also people that come out saying that they've been scammed, that they've been stolen, that the money has been taken, and so on and so forth. So it's like a cult that draws on this kind of alien stuff, which is in Brazil, it's really big. The alien mix with esoterica and mix with kind of especially underground aliens. There's books about underground aliens going back to the early 90s, 80s, by one guy in particular. His name is
Phil Schneider.
Okay. Brazilian guy, nothing to do. He lives out in the middle of nowhere, and he has these books. It's very different from the Phil Schneider stuff because that is kind of military, contract that he got apparently shot by an alien, lost part of his hand, and then he got killed. Right? He got murdered with a string around his neck. That's the guy you're talking about.
Yeah, Phil Schneider, who was he was the geologist that worked on all these projects, and he got shot with an alien gun, and from an underground thing. But so
very different.
Anyway.
The kinds of stories you get from the Brazilians back in the day, they're nothing to do with military or anything like that. So this guy I'm talking about that believe in the they call intraterrenos, so beings that live inside the earth. But he shows these lights in the sky. I mean, there was no evidence involved, but there's these, some photographs, but blurry photographs.
Oh, there's some video
whole
too.
Literature on it. Sorry, go ahead.
I was saying there's video of Bilu as well. His name is Urander Fernandes Oliveira.
Yeah, Urangir
Fernandes Oliveira, which stands for UFO.
UFO.
So hey Blake, you're really getting your money's worth on this one,
sorry,
buddy.
Yeah, there you go. You got a whole 30-minute segment on Bilu. But no, and for a lot of us, we just kind of disconnected with those guys after we heard that they were pushing a lot of the Bilu stuff. But again, hey, I'm totally open to filming this. If somebody wants to send me down there, I'll go down. I'll film Bilu. I'll talk to him. I'll figure it out.
Yep. Yeah. Wouldn't it be weird if you came back a Bilu believer?
It would be weird.
The area that they go are beautiful areas in Brazil. There, where they I mean, there's lots of it. And that's probably what might be more interesting about Brazil is some of the old geology. At the wake of the stuff that Stellium 7 is finding out. Who knows what the heck is over there, and geologically, we kind of like I think the nature of this paradigm shift is such a shift. It's like, wow, we're finding out things that we couldn't imagine 10 years ago. We had no idea if we try to predict what's going on right now. Completely insane. There you go, Guranjir.
All right, here he is. Here, I forgot about. He also bends spoons and makes plates explode. I'm starting to remember all this stuff
that spoon looks like a really thin sheet of.
Come on.
I'm not impressed.
No, not impressed. Not impressed, and especially after what you showed us, Bob, with the what you can do with video now, talking about these what are those little robots that can be soldiers for us and everything. But this guy, I forgot. Was this the other one that he did where he uses his?
Explodes the plate.
Yeah, he breaks the plate with his mind.
People make a lot of fun of this stuff in Brazil.
By the way, Darren, you're not showing this on the live feed in case you were wondering.
If anybody wants to see that, I'll put it on there. Yeah, so this is the guy that we're talking about, Urandir, or however you say his name.
Urandir.
But let's see.
It was a different name. It was Jurandir first, and then he took the J out to make it Urandir, so that would be UFO.
Oh.
There's a cut.
There's a little cut. Let's see. Wow. So that's why we make fun of Bilu, is Bilu's his friend. And I believe didn't Bilu have a voice? Didn't he talk?
Yeah, it speaks.
Yeah, remember he introduced Globebusters one day.
He speaks like that. Bilu,
Bilu, Earth is flat. Convexa.
Yeah.
No, it's a spherical.
Like that.
Yeah, it was like that. Oh, boy. So that's the Bilu story, and that's why we make fun of it to this day. So, all right, well, it's been almost 3.5 hours. I think it's good for another show. So appreciate everybody so much for joining us. Oh, I did want to show. Just tell everybody about your channel real quick and your Patreon. I have both those up. So here's your channel. I see you've been doing some translations. Is that what these are, these videos recently?
Well, it's an analysis together with kind of a translation, what they're saying. And that was a 4-hour stream. I had to break it into 8 parts because they blocked my stream worldwide for copyright. But I had, and actually after I uploaded these in 8 parts, I had to do 6 edits in order to pass the copyright, and then eventually you did. So that, and then a bunch of other stuff. I have a Brazilian channel. It doesn't matter right now. It's growing. But it's where I'm going to be putting Portuguese stuff and doing this bridge work. I'm going to try to do it both sides, bring some Brazilian researchers into English and the other way around, and see what happens, because I like to kind of, for me, that's quite interesting, try to match thinkers. And then my Patreon is patreon.com/anthropology. And that's it. And I'll try to put some more there's some of it's in there. The Patreon is just if people would like to contribute as little as like $1 to some of the stuff, if they appreciate what I've been doing. And there's like over 100, I think around 100 hours already of material, over 100 videos that I made on this subject, and more to come. And again, thank you so much, Jaren, for having me here. And Bob, it's always a pleasure. Great pleasure talking to you guys. Great time. Time goes on really quick, and we could be speaking forever here. So, awesome. And
appreciate it.
Thank you so much. And
hopefully we see you again next week. And Bob, same to you. And Bob mentioned earlier about the Globebusters 2 channel. Make sure you subscribe to that. Make sure you subscribe to Globebusters 24/7. And Bob, any other things coming up and exciting happenings besides Globebusters in 2 days?
Conferences.
I'm just looking forward to seeing what happens on Sunday. Of course, we'll be on air with that, and we have the Dallas conference coming up on the 14th and 15th, which is going to be really interesting. So, looking forward to it. But we'll see everybody on Sunday.
Beautiful. Sounds good. See you then. And for me, just keep an eye on the channel. I've obviously got to be finishing up my presentation, so I'll be working on that. But we do have Globebusters Sunday. We do have Raw on Monday. Hopefully it's better than this past Monday's, which went a little bit sideways. We couldn't figure anything out. Although I heard that Strange World with Mark Sargent had the same issue.
It did.
Oh, it did. Yeah. So, so obviously it's not just me, but something going on at TFR. But hopefully that's fixed by next Monday. So appreciate everybody. If you want to support me, there's 2 easy ways. You can go to patreon.com/jeranism, or if you have Venmo and want to support that way, just search @jeranism, and you can find me on Venmo. And I'd appreciate any kind of tip, $1, $5, doesn't matter. Anything helps. And if not, just please share the videos that you enjoy, comment on the ones that you like or don't like, let me know why, and we go from there. So I believe that's it. Do I have anything else I need to do? My address, if you want to mail me anything, is P.O. Box 3044, Merced, California 95344. So feel free to send me something if you like. Other than that, I remind you guys to do your own research, because when you do, you'll never again believe what you've been taught. Till next time, guys, this has been Jeranism. Peace.
Peace.